বেঁচে আছে কি বেঁচে থাকলে হসপিটাল নিয়ে চলো,
হসপিটালে যাও।
বেঁচে থাকলে হসপিটাল নিয়ে চলো।
মুখটা একবার দেখো না, ভিডিও করো। মুখটা একবার দেখি দাও না।
মুখটা কি আছে
এই ফোনটা দাদা এখানে রাখো।
তুমি কোথা থেকে এসছো? তুমি টান দাও। আরে আমরা আছি তো, অসুবিধা নেই। আরে মুখটা দেখতে হবে তো। তারা তিনজন গুলি করে চলে গেছে, সেটা বলতে পারবো না আমি তো। আপনি হসপিটালে যান আগে, নিয়ে যান হসপিটালে নিয়ে যান দাদা।
আপনারা এখানে
বেলটা মারো
বেলটা লস হচ্ছে।
বেলটা তো লাগছে
কোনো ভাবতে পারো ওটা যাই না কার গাড়ি।
বেলটা মারো এইভাবে নিয়ে
গাড়ি বন্ধ করো, হাতটা তোলো।
ভেতরে একজন এরকম পড়ে আছে, একজন পড়ে আছে। যাও আটকে দাও, হসপিটাল যাও।
Viewers, when Chandranath was first taken to the hospital after exactly what unfolded, you saw it on your screens, he was declared to be brought dead. The postmortem is now underway. It has been carried on, and in fact, we've managed to speak to the doctors who were involved in the process. Listen in to what they have to say about this entire case.
So the PM we are conducted through a team, by formation of a team who is led by our HOD, Department of Forensic Medicine and Toxicology, along with two other assistant professors. So all the 3-member team has conducted the autopsy, and in this process also normally we didn't go for a video autopsy, video footage autopsy or video recording, as well as we sometimes only do the autopsy without a presence of a magistrate inquest. But here is a sensitive issues, and the request from the police authority, local administration, has come for a video PM along with an magistrate inquest. So we have allowed, administration and HOD forensic medicine has allowed for both the thing, and along with that we have done another thing that as it is a bullet injury cases in our morgue, we have conducted the X-ray, preliminary radiological X-ray, to find out the bullets, the location of the bullets. So that is normally not done in an SOPs, but it's a sensitive case and we know that merit of the thing. So we have totally followed all the SOPs, all the points in the SOPs, so that it will help the investigation in the later part.
In fact, also joining me on the broadcast is my colleague Harsha to get us a lowdown of the situation. Harsha, we heard what the doctors had to say. The postmortem is underway. Most of it has been carried out. We also have details on the weapon that was used. What more can you tell us, Harsha?
So, Gesu, the investigation is underway. You yourself have described all the CCTV footages, 3 CCTV footages which the Republic has access of and which Republic has its hands on. Each and every CCTV footage clearly tells that how it was a modus operandi of the assailant. They very well had pre-planned this entire murder.
मान के बैठी है, पुलिस को कोई एक्टिविटी नहीं देख रहे हैं, तो पुलिस अगर एक्टिव हो जाता तो ये दिन देखना नहीं आता है। हम लोग सोचे थे चलो सरकार गई, पुलिस की नींद खुल गई होगी, नहीं खुली अभी तक। पुलिस को अपने स्वरूप में आना चाहिए। लोगों को लगे कि हमने ये सरकार को हटा करके ठीक किया है, पुलिस तो कम से कम सुधर जाए और जानहानि ना हो, इतना ही तो हमें उम्मीद है। যে কোনো রাজ্যে থাকতে পারে, কি করছে, ঘুমোচ্ছে এখনো।
Leader who's in fact holding the police to accountability. He says that the state police now needs to start working without any biases now that the TMC has been uprooted from West Bengal. Harsha, in fact, continues speaking to us about the details of the matter. You know, first we heard the doctor, we also heard Dilip Ghosh right now, who says that the state police needs to really take control of the law and order situation that's unfolding on the streets of West Bengal. Harsha.
Yes, Gesu, why not? Dilip Ghosh is right at his place. Now the system is changed. Now the government is changed. It's not the TMC government anymore. It's the BJP government in the state of West Bengal now. There'll be a ceremony on 9th of May, and we are probably expecting that the administration, the system, the security officials, they'll be more responsible towards their work, because they can't have a lenient system what they always had during the TMC government. Cahoots, in cahoots with the troublemongers, supporting assassins, supporting the criminals, not taking them into custody. But this is not how BJP government works in the states they are already in power. BJP is very strict when it comes to the law and order situation. Be it you see the example of Uttar Pradesh, example of Rajasthan or Madhya Pradesh or anywhere else. And that is the reason why Dilip Ghosh is stating that it's the high time the West Bengal police takes the responsibility and deploys maximum forces, and also is held accountable in many ways. And now on our screen, Gesu, as you were also describing the CCTV footage, look at how helpless, how helpless, unconscious state is Chandra. Was taken to the hospital immediately, where he was declared broad dead. 3 bullet shots, 2 on his chest, 1 on his liver. He succumbed to the death. His life couldn't be saved because he was shot at point blank. The entire motive of the assassins was to kill Chandranath. They came with this motive. They fulfilled their motive. They are on the run right now. Investigative agencies are investigative right now. But this is a huge loss for Suvendu Adhikari. This is a personal loss for Suvendu Adhikari, because Chandra was one key person who had held his entire Bhawanipur campaign tightly, managed everything for Suvendu Adhikari. He was the one person who gave just tit for tat to the Shashi Panja, Kunal Ghosh when they were protesting outside counting center. He was the one who was facing Mamta Banerjee when she entered counting center, and he was the person who raised this point that how can Mamta Banerjee go inside the counting center late at night. He was the one person at front of each and every news, saving Suvendu Adhikari and also working for Suvendu Adhikari so diligently that he was he was like a sore in the eyes of the TMC people, TMC leaders, and that took his life away. Back to you.
Yes, Harsha, borrowing from, in fact, what you've said, he was, in fact, like a sore in the eyes of the Trinamool Congress. And now, Harsha, continue being with us. We're also getting in some more breaking developments. Now, another CCTV visual has emerged of Suvendu's aide's car. In fact, Chandranath's Scorpio is seen in a CCTV footage moments before the attack. And that CCTV footage has also been accessed by Republic.
கட்சியும் இணைத்து ஒன்றிய அரசான
These are shots of protests that have taken place, that have erupted in Chennai, in Tamil Nadu. Remember, the political temperature in Tamil Nadu also remains hot. Now, this is the CPI, the CPM and the VCK protesting outside the collectorate's office in Chennai. Now, remember, after a hung assembly, even now, the finalization of who will form the government has not been made concrete. The governor has, in fact, asked the TVK to take the governor in confidence in regards to the majority mark of 118 seats. Remember, TVK emerged as the single largest party with 108 seats, which was falling 11 short of the majority mark. Now, this is the fresh visual of the protest that's erupted. CPI, CPM, VCK workers that are protesting outside the collectorate's office. Now, viewers, that's the latest that we're picking up from Chennai. Now, remember, there is a huge question over who forms the government in Tamil Nadu after TVK has fallen short of the majority mark, even after forming an alliance with the Congress party. And not just that, there's also a question of what happens to Tamil Nadu in case a government is not formed at the latest. Remember, the outgoing Chief Minister, M.K. Stalin, has already submitted his resignation. He's left the post of the Chief Minister. In fact, that was very speedily also, in fact, taken in by the governor. It was accepted by the governor, the resignation of M.K. Stalin. That has now put the DMK government out of power officially. And the next government, the incoming government, TVK, does not seem to have the numbers, is what the governor in Tamil Nadu says. And now the fate of the state, the political fate, hangs in balance. In fact, if this takes any more days than today, there could be a strong possibility of the governor's rule, the the precedence rule being pressed in on Tamil Nadu for at least a few days, unless there is complete clarity over who forms the next government in Tamil Nadu. Now remember, TVK chief Vijay has in fact asked for more time. He's asked to borrow more time from the governor of Tamil Nadu, and he's also expressed confidence that the TVK will in fact form the government and Vijay will emerge as the chief ministerial face. But how will that happen is a huge question. And these are the protest visuals that have erupted right outside the collectorate's office in Chennai. Viewers, now getting in some more breaking development. All the MLAs of the DMK have been called to the DMK headquarters to discuss their stance as the opposition. Now, likely the opposition leader of the DMK at the State Assembly will also be selected. So, all political processes are ongoing simultaneously, where on one hand, the TVK is looking to form the government and looking for more numbers to convince the governor and to go per the electoral process of forming a government. On the other hand, the MLAs of the DMK have been called to the party's headquarters, and this is to discuss their stance as the leading opposition party. Likely also in this meeting, the leader of the DMK in the State Assembly will be selected. Just moments after this meeting, we can expect an announcement over who will be the leader, the leading face of the DMK as it sits in the opposition of the Tamil Nadu State Assembly, after TVK emerged as the single largest party on the floor of Tamil Nadu Assembly, winning over 108 seats in the 234-member Assembly of the Tamil Nadu Assembly. Now, the DMK can also finalize the leader of opposition in this very meeting. Remember, all DMK MLAs have been summoned. They've been called to the DMK headquarters in Chennai. And we see multiple things, a plethora of things that are unfolding. Multi-front progress that's taking place in Tamil Nadu, with the TVK chief scrambling to form his government, where he continues to miss the majority mark. Even after 5 more seats in the Congress party's alliance could not patch the entire gap. Now, Sarda joins me live to get us more updates into the matter. Sarda, you know, a protest that was ongoing, CPI and various other parties that are protesting outside the collectorate's office in Chennai, that's ongoing on one side. On the other, the DMK has now summoned all its MLAs. Likely, they will also announce who the face of the opposition is going to be, as the party now sits to be the opposition in Tamil Nadu. Sarda, get us updates on both these fronts.
Well, the DMK is holding a meeting at 5:30 p.m. today at the party headquarters, where the talk is going to be about what the stance as opposition government is going to be, and they'll also be selecting who the opposition party leader at the parliament will be. Earlier it was M.K. Stalin, the party president, but now M.K. Stalin not being elected as the MLA. There's a question on who will be heading over the DMK party at the State Legislative Assembly. The talks that coming in is Udayanadi, who is holding the Deputy Chief Minister position and will also be the next DMK leader. He will be taking over as the opposition leader in the party. Is going to be Vijay versus Uday is the scenario that the DMK is also planning to fight against. Today morning, M.K. Stalin made it clear that in no way will the DMK stop or disrupt forming Vijay, the government, Vijay from forming the government. They also said that they let Vijay run the government for 6 months without any disturbance as an opposition, and would try to help them as much as possible in their governance as well, and then give them time to adapt, because they're a new party coming into government as well. And in that case, now we have the DMK having an important meeting with its party members, MLAs especially, 73 MLAs from the DMK, out of which 5 are from the VCK, 2 from the Communists, the Marxists, and now there's also 5 from the Congress. So now minusing all that, they'll only have 62 representatives as the DMK in the party. So they're going to be working on as the 62 opposition leaders, because the CPI, the CPM and the VCK are looking at alliances with the TVK, and the decision will be made tomorrow. So the meeting with the 62 MLAs will now decide what their stance at the assembly will be.
So lots that's, you know, ongoing right behind you. These are the protest visuals. I would request if you could also ask your video journalist to sort of pan around the area and show us what's happening, while continue speaking to us about what are the kind of issues that are being raked up outside the collectorate's office. Sarda.
Well, as now the left parties, the communists, the Marxist communists and VC are holding a protest condemning the central government, the BJP, on the price hike of the gas cylinders in the country, especially in the state, how the gas cylinder price has been hiked to 1,100 rupees, the commercial gas cylinders. They are also fighting against about how the reservation for the railway employment has been stopped by the central government in the last 1 month. So the left parties have come together today to fight against the central government on the imposition on the gas prices that are implemented in the state.
Thanks for getting us those details. You know, on one hand, where there are political tensions that are unfolding with the state's fate being unclear, there are also price hike protests that have broken out in Tamil Nadu. So, of course, a lot that's unfolding in Tamil Nadu. Thanks very much for joining in, Sarda. Now, viewers, we're also getting in another breaking development. We have some exclusive visuals from the resort where AIADMK MLAs are staying. As per sources, at least 40 MLAs have been moved by the AIADMK to the resort, which is in Puducherry. In fact, EPS has also, the party's General Secretary, Edapadi K. Palaniswamy, has also reached the resort in Puducherry. Not just that, various other senior party leadership have reached the resort, with many more even slated to reach the resort later this evening. These are the visuals from inside the resort. Remember, my colleague Aishwarya was on ground since morning. She was getting us reports from inside the resort. Republic TV became the only channel that could enter the premises of this resort and report right from ground zero. Now, Tamil Nadu's focus has once again brought in to their resort politics, with 40 AIADMK MLAs now having been shifted to a resort in Puducherry. Remember, comes after a hung assembly and TVK struggling to form a government with the majority mark not getting reached. Listen into Aishwarya's report.
With the AIADMK's almost 25 MLAs have been given accommodation in this particular resort. As you can see, we are having the inside visuals. This is the house where the entire AIADMK's 25 MLAs are being residing. As you can see, one MLAs are coming and going inside those particular resorts. With there are almost all MLAs coming. Recently, one of the MLAs have just reached as well. Almost the entire resort has been booked so that all the 25 MLAs are not going or not turning into a rebel factor within the AIADMK, so that they can protect them and prove that TVK does not have a majority on the floor. They would not go with the TVK. That is what this particular entire exercise is looking at. If you can see, these are the rooms that are being given to the AIADMK MLAs, and here.
Viewers, that's all that we could wrap for you in this edition of the News Bulletin. But don't go anywhere. On the other side, the TMC is being alleged behind the murder of Suvendu's personal assistant and close aide, Chandranath, by the BJP. In fact, they've taken direct hits at Trinamool Congress's Abhishek Banerjee. Getting you all the details, stay tuned.
What's behind the Hantavirus outbreak on the cruise ship? We tell you about that at 6:30 p.m. Also, how Iran is looking to take a decision on United States proposal, even as Donald Trump threatens to bomb Iran again in order to build pressure. We also get you what is New Delhi's message to Terroristan on the anniversary of Operation Sindur. We get you all the stories that matter from across the globe on our Global at 6:30 p.m. with me, Rakshita Mishra.
Join International Institute of Hotel Management. Call 983-10-50,000.
कोशिश को कामयाबी को शोहरत बनते देखा है। हाँ, पिछले 60 सालों में मैंने देश को बनते देखा है। कमला पसंद, 60 सालों से अनोखा स्वाद।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, मसाला।
Approximately 3:30 this afternoon, our plainclothes officers and agents that consistently patrol the outer perimeter of the White House complex identified a suspicious individual that appeared to have a firearm. They called in support from our marked uniformed Secret Service police to make contact with that individual. Upon making contact, that individual fled briefly on foot, withdrew a firearm, and fired in the direction of our agents and officers. They returned fire and engaged. That individual was hit. He's since been transported to the hospital. I have no comments on his condition. I can tell you that at least one, we believe only one bystander was hit by the suspect. That individual, it's a juvenile, did not sustain any life-threatening injuries, but he's also receiving treatment at the hospital. I'll point out that not long before this shooting occurred, the Vice President's motorcade did transit through this area. The investigation itself, in terms of the use of force in the shooting, will be conducted by Metropolitan Police Department.
Great to be here. I'm thrilled to be back in the home of a great place. I love Florida. We love Florida. With all of the very proud, great American patriots of the villages. Are we happy with the villages? We like the villages. Now, you know, I shouldn't be...
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है? आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट? स्वाद बढ़ाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और परेशान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरी डे।
Fatima, Hiroshima, Bangla, Amar, Kadbe, Nato.
Adhikari's election back-end person, Chandranath Rath, has been shot at.
ये रीवा सिटी अस्पताल है जहां पर चंद्रनाथ रथ को लाया गया था और उनको ब्रॉड डेड यहां पर डिक्लेयर किया गया।
The man who managed the Bhawanipur election for Suvendu Adhikari has been killed. The question is, where is the culpability? You see these windows are being shot at point blank. These are sniper killers. These are professional killers. They're obviously working on the instructions. This is a contract killer.
Suvendu Adhikari, close aide and personal assistant, shot dead at point blank range. Suvendu Adhikari's aide who handled Bhawanipur campaign killed in cold-blooded murder. The CCTV footage shows Suvendu's aide pinned down and shot dead. More details emerge in killing of Suvendu Adhikari's right hand. Chandranath shot dead just 60 meters away from his house. After a failed attempt to prove majority, TVK chief Vijay rushes to Lok Bhavan to meet the governor. New list likely today. Resort politics begins in Tamil Nadu. Sources tell around 40 AIDMK MLAs moved to a resort by the High Command. Republic TV is the only channel to report from the resort. Very warm welcome. I'm Rakshita Mishra with you. Huge crisis breaking out in Tamil Nadu. Governor says Vijay does not have the number. Again, he went to the governor's house today. Again, no numbers. What's really happening? We'll connect with our correspondent. Huge crisis breaking out now, ladies and gentlemen. It's just the deadline is 10th of May when the Assembly tenure ends. Tamil Nadu Assembly tenure ends. And it's race against time for Vijay, who's the single largest party. And he is now in talks with other parties like the VCK, the left parties, the IUML. Congress, of course, has sealed the deal with the TVK, but the crisis remains because the governor is not satisfied with the majority claim, or rather the numbers claim that has been put up by TVK chief Vijay. Republic TV getting the big news break from Tamil Nadu. A political crisis unfolding right after the elections, and Tamil Nadu governor said that Vijay does not have the requisite number to form a government, to form the stable government, and that of course is being objected upon, also objected by the opposition parties as well. Our Congress party is also going to hold protest tomorrow at 11 a.m. and the questions being raised by the Congress over the governor's stand, and we'll just get more details on that. We have on one side the AIADMK, some AIADMK MLAs being locked up in a resort there. We know about Congress joining hands with the TVK, but that is not enough. Vijay needs more the support of more parties, and he's in talks with what we understand that the party is in talks with the other regional parties as well. So we'll try and get more details on that. We can go to the next breaking, that is the Congress ready to hold protest tomorrow at 11 a.m. against the governor, Governor Rajendra Arlekar. Congress has objected to the stand that has been taken by the governor after Congress joins TVK. Governor not approving Vijay to take oath and form the government. Now Congress blames the governor of playing favoritism, of indulging in favoritism instead of following the constitution, and asking Vijay to in fact, him to call the majority number gain party, the party with the majority, and allow TVK to do a floor test. So these are the details that we are getting you from Tamil Nadu. We're also getting you more and more updates that we are getting from the resort where some AIADMK MLAs have also been camping. So it's a political thriller. It's not ended yet. So for Vijay to become the chief minister, there is a roadblock, there are hurdles. The governor is not happy, not satisfied, not convinced with the numbers that have been communicated by the TVK. And now let's shift our focus to West Bengal, viewers. Republic TV has accessed details of the post-mortem report of Chandranath Rath, who was Suvendu Adhikari's aide, and he was murdered last night on his way to his residence. Now, post-mortem report is suggesting that he was fired upon using a semi-automatic firearm. Initial reports suggest that a weapon was improvised, automatic pistol was used, Australia-made weapon was used to kill Suvendu Adhikari's aide, and there are bullet injuries on his chest, at least two bullet injuries on his chest, one injury on his stomach. He was killed point blank.
তুমি কোথা থেকে এসছো? তুমি টান দাও। আরে আমরা আছি তো, অসুবিধা নেই। আরে মুখটা দেখতে হবে তো। তারা তিনজন গুলি করে চলে গেছে, সেটা বলতে পারবো না আমি তো। আপনি হসপিটালে যান, আগে নিয়ে যান হসপিটালে নিয়ে যান দাদা।
আপনারা এখানে
বেলটা মারো বেলটা
লস হচ্ছে।
বেলটা তো লাগছে না,
কোনো হাত ওটা যাই না, কার গাড়ি?
বেলটা মারো এইভাবে নিয়ে যাও।
গাড়ি বন্ধ করো, হাতটা তোলো।
ভেতরে একজন এরকম পড়ে আছে, একজন পড়ে আছে। যাও আটকে দাও, যাও হসপিটাল যাও, থানায় যাও, নাহলে হসপিটাল যাও।
All right, so we are just going to show you, viewers, the moments leading up to this chilling murder. So video number 1 showing SUV of Chandranath. He was sitting in the passenger seat on the front. It passes the toll booth there in Madhyamgram of West Bengal. So this is the moment when he was passing the toll booth. The next video that we are going to show you will show you the assailants, the bike-borne assailants. They were chasing Chandranath's SUV. There you have, this man stops and waits for the other one to catch up. Then they move parallelly together simultaneously. Then cut to video number 3. That's the moment, just moments before the attack. Chandranath's SUV can be seen in this CCTV footage. It has crossed the toll. It has moved ahead 60 meters away from his residence, and then he's shot point blank range. Chandranath's body, you can see him in that lilac shirt, and he's shot from point blank range. He's dead. On arrival, he is brought dead to the hospital, where he was rushed to the hospital, but he was brought dead. And the doctors in their postmortem also suggest that he died on the spot. In fact, this is this SUV, the Scorpio, in which he was sitting at the passenger seat. It's riddled with bullet holes. So then 5 to 6 rounds were fired upon. And the other visual showed that Suvendu Adhikari, he reached the hospital last night, and along with Shokanta Majumdar also, who reached the hospital, the Union Minister and BJP's Bengal leader. He was at the hospital, and you can see the crowd outside. There were many supporters and workers of the BJP who had gathered out there. The slogan, he had raised slogans against the TMC as well. So there was a lot of anger, understandably, against what was a political murder. And right-hand man of Suvendu was killed. His mother in tears, inconsolable. So this is the chain of events. In fact, we'll just go back to Tamil Nadu, where we see my colleague Shada getting us more inputs. But okay, I am told that we'll go back to that story later on. Right now, we continue with this killing. Suvendu Adhikari's aide assassinated, his family in mourning, you can see in this video. And of course, they demand justice for their son as well. As he's killed, a planned murder is being pointed at here. How it was a recce conducted, as claimed by Suvendu Adhikari, and he was traced and tracked as all his activities were being monitored. And what it looks like now, viewers, is a planned murder. And viewers, this happens just 48 hours after this historic win of the BJP. And importantly, Suvendu Adhikari leading the charge, the giant killer Suvendu Adhikari, who has defeated Mamata Banerjee back-to-back in both the assembly elections. We can also play out Suvendu Adhikari's bite when we do get the time. We also have the forensic team, viewers, that is right now at the spot. We'll just go across to those visuals that are coming in. The forensic team has been called in at the crime spot in Madhyamgram, and my colleague Harsha brings us this report.
Right now I'm reporting from the crime spot where exactly late at night around between 10:30 to 11 p.m. exactly Suvendu Adhikari's close aide PA Chandranath Rath was shot at point blank. Right now this entire area is cordoned off and sealed has been put up securing the forensic evidences, but clearly the broken glass shards and the broken window glasses could also be seen at the crime spot right now from where I'm reporting. This is the exact place, the narrow lane in the Madhyamgram area which falls under the Barasat police station. I'll also show you the visuals because the forensic team is right now at the spot, and where we are walking right now exactly from this place at night, Chandranath Rath along with his driver was going to his house after leaving the convoy of Suvendu Adhikari. His house, his residence from this place is exactly 60 meters away. His residence is 60 meters away, and the family members of Chandranath Rath also spoke about it. They stated that in completing after entire election and the counting after almost 1 month to more, Chandranath Rath was finally coming to his residence yesterday night when he was targeted by the assailants, and also not only Suvendu Adhikari but BJP leaders have called this the political assassination, targeting TMC party and stating that the recce was done for many days of Chandranath Rath, his convoy, and how exactly he was with Suvendu Adhikari, since how long he is and what is his route, what is his itinerary. Every day it was being recceed, and after that yesterday he was shot at point blank, and also not one and two but multiple bullets were fired at him on his chest, on his head and stomach as well. When he was brought at Viva City Hospital, he was declared broad dead by the doctors at the hospital. But right now we show you the visuals because the forensic team right now has also reached the spot where the shells of the bullet was also recovered. Many officers have come to the spot. SIT has also been formed in this entire case to investigate. The CCTV footage of the nearby shops is being investigated and is being monitored into Chandranath Rath's.
मध्यम ग्राम में जहां पर चंद्रनाथ रथ रहते थे वहीं पर मैं मौजूद हूं, और यहां पर मेरे साथ कुछ ऐसे लोग हैं जिन्होंने उनको उस हालत में देखा जब उनके शरीर से खून बह रहा था, वो घायल थे और करा रहे थे। आप वहां मौके पर मौजूद थे, आपने क्या देखा जब आप वहां पर पहुंचे, क्या देखा आप?
আমি যখন গুলির আওয়াজ পেলাম আর লোকের চিৎকার শুনলাম दो तीन জনের, हमने सुना जो चिल्लाने का आवाज है गोली लग गया, तो हमने दौड़ के गया, जाके देखा एक स्कॉर्पियो पड़ा है, दरवाजा बंद है और उनका शीशा टूटा हुआ है। और
कहां पर पड़ा था?
थोड़ा दूर जो गाड़ी है उसके सामने, और पड़ा हुआ था, और उनके सामने एक ऑल्टो कार गार्ड किया हुआ था। ऑल्टो कार में कोई नहीं था।
अच्छा, छोटी कार थी?
हाँ, छोटी कार थे, उसमें कोई नहीं था।
वो कार उनकी स्कॉर्पियो के आगे आपको दिखाई?
हाँ, एकदम फेस टू फेस खड़ा था।
अच्छा, तो ऐसा लग रहा था जैसे वो छोटी कार ने उनकी स्कॉर्पियो
वो रास्ता रोक दिया। उसके बाद हमने दरवाजा खोलने कहा, वो डर के मारे दरवाजा नहीं खोल रहा था। तो हमने बोला
कौन नहीं खोल रहा था? जो ड्राइवर उनके साथ
अंदर थे, शायद उनको और भी गोली मारे या इसके डर से नहीं खोल रहा था। तो हमने बोला हम भाजपा कार्यकर्ता है, तुमको डरने के बाद नहीं दरवाजा खोलो।
आप कहाँ पर रहते हैं?
हाँ, यही पर है।
आप यहीं इसी मोहल्ले में रहते हैं? और चंद्रनाथ यहाँ से थोड़ा आगे 200 किलोमीटर
जो फ्लैट है उसमें रहते थे, और एक कार के सामने ही हुआ था।
ठीक है, तो दरवाजा नहीं खोला, फिर आपने कैसे उनको मनाया? दरवाजा
हमने बोला हमने भाजपा कार्यकर्ता है, इधर ही रहता है, डरने के बाद नहीं खोलो दरवाजा। साथ साथ खोल दिया, देखा सामने एक इंजर्ड है पड़ा है, और एक रो रहा था और पीछे एक साइड बॉडी पड़ा था। तो हमने बोला किसने मारा, वो कुछ बता नहीं पा रहा था, रो रही थी। तो देखा सामने जो पड़ा था उनको बहुत ब्लीडिंग हो रहा था, लेकिन जिंदा है। तो हमने बोला तो अभी जिंदा है, तुमको गाड़ी मिलेगा या हम गाड़ी कर देंगे? बोले ना, ये हम ड्राइव कर सकते। जल्दी से आगे इनको बचाओ, हॉस्पिटल लेके एडमिट कराओ, इनको बचाओ, उसके बाद हम देखता हूँ। वो गाड़ी घुमा के लेके
किस हॉस्पिटल लेके?
विभा सिटी हॉस्पिटल चौमाथा में। और हमने पुलिस को फोन किया, जिला दफ्तर में फोन किया, उसके बाद कंफर्म हुआ वो चंद्रनाथ रथ जी है, सुवेंदु दा का पीए।
अच्छा, जो ड्राइवर घायल हुए थे उन्होंने घायल होने के बाद भी गाड़ी चलाई, आप ये कह रहे हैं?
उनको तो उस समय तो अंधेरा था और हमने बहुत जल्दबाजी से उनको रेस्क्यू करके भेजा है। दोनों पड़ा था, हमने वो ड्राइवर के बगल में जो थे उनको तो पूरा ब्लीडिंग हो रहा था, और पीछे एक सोया हुआ था, उनको भी ठीक से दिखाई नहीं दिया। हाँ, तो कौन ड्राइवर है, कौन चंद्रनाथ जी थे, ये
नहीं पता लग पाया था,
पता नहीं लग पाया।
उसी गाड़ी से आप रेस्क्यू करके अस्पताल ले गए?
हम नहीं लेके, हमने भेज के मध्यमग्राम पीएस में फोन किया।
उसी गाड़ी से मतलब यहाँ से वो लोग गए?
वो गए और 5-10 मिनट के अंदर पुलिस आ गया, हमने सब कुछ बता दिया। और
टीएमसी के कार्यकर्ताओं को, टीएमसी वालों को आदत बनी हुई है, मर्डर करो, भाग जाओ, बहन बेटी की इज्जत ली तो अराजकता फैलाना, दंगे कराना। आपने देखा संदेश खाली में भी ऐसे ही होता था, पिछले चुनाव के बाद भी इन्होंने ऐसे ही किया था, लोगों को फांसी पे लटका दिया, जेब में पर्चियां डाल दी, उसको लिखना आता नहीं है, सुसाइड बता दिया। इस तरह के हत्याकांड ये करते रहे। लेकिन इनको मालूम होना चाहिए सरकार बदल चुकी है, और ये सरकार बदलने के कारण इसके परिणाम इनको लंबे वक्त तक भुगतने पड़ेंगे इन लोगों को। जैसे हमारी प्रामाणिकता पे अनेकों सरकारें चल रही हैं और वहाँ पर लॉ एंड ऑर्डर जिस प्रकार से हम मेंटेन करते हैं, तो क्रिमिनल जो होता है गले के अंदर तख्ती डाल के आता है कि मुझे माफ़ कर दो, तो ये हालत होने वाली है वहाँ पर। लेकिन जाते जाते ये कर रहे हैं, इनकी मानसिकता है। जिस प्रकार से इन्होंने शासन किया है 15 साल तक, उसी प्रकार से पुनः शोषण करना चाहते हैं, दबाव बनाना चाहते हैं। डॉक्टरों की हत्या करने का काम इन्होंने किया है, लोकतंत्र की हत्या करने का काम किया है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी सरकार संविधान के नजरिए से और लोकतंत्र की रक्षा के लिए पूरा कदम उठाएगी।
सर, जब इलेक्शन कैंपेनिंग चल रही थी तब टीएमसी के अभिषेक बैनर्जी ने ये बोला था कि 4 तारीख के बाद 12 बजे हम आपको बताएंगे, तो क्या उसी के रिप्लाई में ये टीएमसी वालों ने करवाया है? क्या आपको लगता है उनका हाथ है?
ये सारे गुंडे टीएमसी के ही हैं, सारे के सारे। पकड़ने के बाद आपको मालूम पड़ जाएगा, क्योंकि जैसे इनके बयान आए हैं, जैसे इनकी भावना है, जिस प्रकार से 15 साल तक इन्होंने शासन किया है, ये वही नजरिया वही दिखाई दे रहा है सारा का सारा। और हमने भी कहा था कि 4 तारीख के बाद ये गुंडे बचेंगे नहीं। 1, 2, 4, 5 दिखाई दे रहे हैं, इनको मालूम पड़ेगा ये भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार है, एक राष्ट्रवादी सरकार है। देश में कोई भी अराजकता फैलाने वाला बचने वाला नहीं है, कानून अपना काम करेगा।
Meanwhile, viewers, we're getting in a big update from Howrah's Shivpur now in Bengal. Massive bomb blast has been reported now. An attack is being reported, in fact, from Howrah, and allegations are being raised against the TMC. Is the TMC behind this attack? It's a bomb blast that has taken place in Shivpur of Howrah. It's an attack that has taken place in Howrah, and TMC hand is being alleged. This is, viewers, again, another example of post-poll violence in West Bengal. Not even 24 hours have passed in this chilling murder of Suvendu Adhikari's aide, and now you are hearing of, we are reporting this bomb blast, this attack from Howrah in West Bengal. Viewers, this is another example, is adding to this unfortunate list of incidents of post-poll violence. There have been violent clashes taking place in Howrah already, viewers. TMC versus BJP clashes were reported in Uluberia earlier in Howrah. And now we see that another attack is reported. My colleague Harsha joins us on the broadcast. Harsha, what has happened in Howrah now?
So, Raksha, this is the post-poll escalation which has taken place in Howrah. Now, Uluberia is not the first time where the post-poll violence have been reported. Day before yesterday, also there was clashes between TMC and BJP in the Uluberia area in Havra, where the where the BJP karyakartas were injured. They were taken that time also to the nearby hospital, and this time also again they were the angry TMC supporters who started the altercation, who started the clash first. And in the visuals, we can clearly see these are the BJP supporters who have been taken to the nearby hospital. There were the bomb which were hurled at the BJP supporters and karyakartas. The security personnel are deployed, and they were the unidentified anti-social elements who were actually behind this massive bomb attack in the Uluberia in Havra. The pictures, the videos have now come out, and several BJP supporters and karyakartas have been taken to the nearby. They have been rushed to the nearby hospital. The case has been registered against the anti-social elements, unidentified miscreants who were behind this attack. But right now what we know is that the situation in West Bengal goes day by day grim. Just 48 hours after the victory of the BJP in West Bengal and 2 days before the oath ceremony, these escalations and violence being reported continuously sends a lot of messaging in the state of West Bengal that TMC doesn't seem to be very happy with the defeat and how the supporters are now rattled and are on streets by clearly going on altercation and starting the clashes with the BJP supporters wherever they are finding that there's no police deployment or security personnel. Now, however, security personnel have been beefed in the Uluberia area, but Havra always has been very sensitive, Rakshita, keeping in mind the demographic change and the minorities in majority in that area. Back to you.
All right, Wayne, thanks, Harsha, for joining us with details coming in on that story. Viewers, in the meantime, we step into a very, very short break. But on the other side, we bring you really what's happening in Tamil Nadu. The thriller is not ending yet. Resort politics has also begun. Sources tell around 40 AIDMK MLAs have been moved to the resort by the High Command. More on the other side.
Tonight on This Is Exclusive, we get you the most definitive account of India's finest military operation, Operation Sindur. Minute by minute details of what really transpired on the intervening night of 6th and 7th of May. And not just that, role of Indian Navy has finally been revealed.
जीरा सिप असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
AU सेविंग्स अकाउंट में मिलते हैं अमेजिंग बेनिफिट्स, पेपरलेस बैंकिंग एंड हायर इंटरेस्ट, वो भी हर महीने।
मनी 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 एवरी मंथ।
सोच बदलो और बैंक भी।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो, मिलाओ और खाओ,
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है, सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
Approximately 3:30 this afternoon, our plainclothes officers and agents that consistently patrol the outer perimeter of the White House complex identified a suspicious individual that appeared to have a firearm. They called in support from our marked uniformed Secret Service police to make contact with that individual. Upon making contact, that individual fled briefly on foot, withdrew a firearm, and fired in the direction of our agents and officers. They returned fire and engaged. That individual was hit. He's since been transported to the hospital. I have no comments on his condition. I can tell you that at least one, we believe only one bystander was hit by the suspect. That individual, it's a juvenile, did not sustain any life-threatening injuries, but he's also receiving treatment at the hospital. I'll point out that not long before this shooting occurred, the Vice President's motorcade did transit through this area. The investigation itself, in terms of the use of force in the shooting, will be conducted by Metropolitan Police Department.
You have 3 states and 3 controversial outcomes. In Bengal, there is a political assassination. In Tamil Nadu, you have a single largest party but not having the majority. And in Kerala, you have a clear winner, but the choice for the chief minister threatens to break up the Congress party. 3 of the biggest political headlines following the elections of 2026 coming up on The Verdict at 6 p.m.
Join International Institute of Hotel Management. Call 983-10-50,000.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है अरे मेरी राजा राजा आरती और मसाला
ছেলেরা রুখবে সীমান্তের হিন্দুদের বুকে আগলে রাখবো 15 বছর কেটেছি অনেক এবার ঘোরা ভোটের ভিড়ে ছাপ্পা রেখে চলবে না তো সরকার চাই বিজেপি সরকার সরকার চাই বিজেপি সরকার
Behind the Hantavirus outbreak on the cruise ship. We tell you about that at 6:30 p.m. Also, how Iran is looking to take a decision on United States proposal, even as Donald Trump threatens to bomb Iran again in order to build pressure. We also get you what is New Delhi's message to Terroristan on the anniversary of Operation Sindur. We get you all the stories that matter from across the globe on our Global at 6:30 p.m. with me, Rakshita Mishra.
We get you the most definitive account of India's finest military operation, Operation Sindur. Minute by minute details of what really transpired on the intervening night of 6th and 7th of May. And not just that, role of Indian Navy has finally been revealed.
Suvendu Adhikari's election back-end person, Chandranath Rath, has been shot at.
ये रीवा सिटी अस्पताल है जहां पर चंद्रनाथ रथ को लाया गया था और उनको ब्रॉड डेड यहां पर डिक्लेयर किया गया।
managed the Bhawanipur election for Suvendu Adhikari has been killed. The question is, where is the culpability? You see these windows are being shot at point blank. These are sniper killers. These are professional killers. They're obviously working on the instructions. This is a contract killer.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Thank you for watching us all through this election season, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching The Verdict, and at 6 p.m, out of the 5 battleground states, 3 of them are extremely complicated with 3 big controversies in each of these states. In Bengal, after the elections, post-poll violence has become the headline, with Suvendu Adhikari's right-hand man, the man who managed the Bhawanipur constituency, being shot dead overnight. In Tamil Nadu, you have a single party which has got the most number of MLAs but does not have the majority. And in Kerala, you have a mandate which is resounding, but you have 3 people in one party fighting, and it appears that they are headed for a split there on the Chief Minister face in Kerala as well. We're getting you all that and more on The Verdict this evening. Here are the headlines related to the elections of 2026. Suvendu Adhikari's aide shot dead in Bengal overnight, killed after he's tailed and shot in the chest 7 times. The man who managed and handled the Bhawanipur campaign for Suvendu Adhikari, killed in what appears to be a pre-planned, premeditated murder. CCTV footage shows Suvendu's aide was tailed, pinned down, shot dead. Suvendu points fingers at the Trinamool Congress. He was killed about 60 meters from his home. We have the full details of how the attackers knew exactly where to corner Chandranath Rath. There's a crisis brewing in Tamil Nadu. For a second time in 2 days, Vijay meets the governor. But the governor tells him he does not have the numbers yet to form the government. AIADMK MLAs move to a resort. EPS likely to move to the resort as well. Resort politics breaks out as Vijay struggles to get the numbers hung assembly in Tamil Nadu. Getting in breaking news, ladies and gentlemen, these are pictures coming in from Chennai. Before we go across to the pictures coming in from Chennai, these are pictures coming in from Bengal of the last rites of Chandranath Rath.
हर किसी की आंखें इस वक्त
पास करने बोलो. बात करने बोलो. To rest. Yes, sir. from West Bengal. The last rites of Chandranath Rath, the right-hand man of Suvendu Adhikari, who was shot dead last night. Through the day, we've been looking at pictures of how he was cornered, pinned down near a T-point, briefly after he moved away from Suvendu. That Suvendu Adhikari, right by his side, in the last moments of Chandranath Rath. The story of Chandranath Rath, his family and Suvendu Adhikari have followed the same path for several years now. For almost 2 decades, Chandranath Rath served in the Indian Air Force. And after his stint in the Indian Air Force, he joined politics. Initially, his family was associated with the Trinamool Congress. His mother, also a leader at the grassroots level, was associated with the Trinamool Congress. And throughout, they've been close associates of Suvendu Adhikari. From in his initial days, they were following Suvendu Adhikari. And when he switched to the BJP, they too with him switched to the BJP. And that is why many people believe the murder of Chandranath Rath is not a one-off case. It is a targeted killing. He was targeted, he was picked out for what happened in Bhawanipur. He was the assistant, the personal secretary to Suvendu Adhikari for many years now. And that is why after the elections of 2026, when Bengal has seen a record mandate, this man had a big role to play in the rise of Suvendu Adhikari, and in Suvendu Adhikari winning that seat over Mamata Banerjee in what was a resounding mandate for the BJP. Suvendu Adhikari won the seat by over 15,000 votes, and it's not accidental. He played a large role. And even when Suvendu was a minister in the Trinamool Congress before joining the BJP, this man whose last rites are being conducted, Chandranath Rath, he was a close aide, an assistant secretary of Suvendu Adhikari, even back then in the Water Resources Department. So these are powerful pictures coming in from Bengal. Harsha is joining me live. Harsha has also tracked the election campaign of Suvendu. She spoke to Suvendu a couple of times during the campaign. Harsha, Chandranath Rath, the fact that he was targeted, it's not accidental. They knew exactly who they were going after, whoever did this.
Yes, sir, that's a very sad day. It's when, in that, sadness and unrest you can clearly see in the commotion in the, in the village of Chandranath Rath, where exactly the mortal remains of Chandranath has been brought. It's the Purva Medinipur in 2019. Niranjan Chandranath joined Suvendu Adhikari. He was the key man, not only close aide, the key man who actually planned each and everything for the Bhawanipur constituency. Suvendu Adhikari trusted him so much that he ensured that Chandranath only plans the itinerary, the day-to-day schedules, the media meetings and the other meetings for the Bhawanipur, the door-to-door campaign, and he was the only person who took on Mamata Banerjee and on the day of the counting and the day before the counting when Mamata Banerjee went inside the counting center. He was the first man who actually, said that why Mamata Banerjee is allowed inside the counting center. In fact, he took on Shashi Pandey and Kunal Ghosh as well when the TNC vehicle was parked outside counting center. He has been working so closely with Suvendu Adhikari, and right now there's unrest and sadness among all the BJP Karyakartas because this is so much of forceful escalation in the state of West Bengal. No one would have thought a man who is a key man who has planned everything for Suvendu Adhikari, who has done so much for the party, and he's not associated with Suvendu Adhikari when Suvendu Adhikari came into BJP. But he was much before associated with Suvendu Adhikari. The entire family of Chandranath is a politically affluent family. His mother was connected politically. She herself had a designation. And that family is politically affluent. And this happening to Chandranath, the man who was going to his house at night after winding up his work, leaving the cabinet of Suvendu Adhikari, and it was shot point blank. Multiple rounds of firing at him, and you see the visuals of the village, the place from where Chandranath came from. As soon as the mortal remains were brought, and these friends, relatives, family members, the villagers, the para people, each and every one was waiting for Chandranath Rath. They never would have thought that the person Chandranath will come back to his own village, but his body will come. His mortal remains will come. They would have never thought it. They have always seen Chandranath rising politically in political corridors. They have seen such a disciplined man associated with Ramakrishnan mission. He had no enemies, Niranjan. Trust me, he has no enemies apart from the TMC, who was very rapid and furious, and they were targeting and pinpointing each and every one who was working closely with Suvendu Adhikari. This is the revenge they have taken for the defeat of Mamata Banerjee, and it's very upsetting, very sad that a young man has lost his life. Why? Because TMC took Chandranath as a sword in their eyes. And what was the result? The result is that he was shot at point blank. Several rounds fired at him. Two bullets on chest, one bullet on liver. 3 bullets were taken out from his body. One just passed his heart. And this is very sad day. The entire villages could be seen, very emotional. They're emotional. They have been sharing anecdotes, tales with Chandranath, that what relation Chandranath had with them. This boy who grew up in Purva Medinipur. Chandipur is the place, his village from where he actually hails from, and from that he has risen to Kolkata, been in the political corridors, knows in and out of political party, has worked with Suvendu Adhikari for more than 15 years, and look at this end. No one would have thought that this is going to be the end of Chandranath. No one would have thought, and the eyes are teary. You see at the relatives, at the friends, the village people, the local residents, all teary, and all never have imagined that the mortal remains of Chandranath will come and they will have to bid final goodbye to Chandranath today. Very sad day, and we see Suvendu Adhikari standing right now in the village. He was the first Suvendu Adhikari. How close? You see how would have been the camaraderie and the relation of Suvendu Adhikari and Chandranath, that yesterday, after hearing the news, Niranjan, Suvendu Adhikari was the first one to come to the hospital, and today also he's in the village of Chandranath. That's the bond, and that's a sad day for Suvendu Adhikari himself. He has not only lost a PA, a close aide, a trusted aide. He has lost a friend. He has lost a son-like figure. He always treated Chandranath like his own son. So he has lost someone who has managed everything for him. A key person in Suvendu Adhikari's life. The entire Medinipur is sad today, and they are very sad over the death of Chandranath. Back to you.
Staying with these pictures coming in from Chandipur, this is in Purba, Medinipur. That's where he hails from. And if you're looking at these pictures, ladies and gentlemen, he's draped in the tricolour. Chandranath Rath served in the Indian Air Force before getting into politics. Educated in the Ramakrishna Mission. That is why you will see the saffron cloth being draped over his body. He's being draped by the saffron cloth. Someone who believed in a Sanatan Dharma. Like Suvendu Adhikari, Chandranath Rath fought the Trinamool Congress on ideological lines. And that is why the Mamata Banerjee regime, perhaps, when they were in power, marked him out, given his contribution to the victory of Suvendu Adhikari in Bhabanipur, something that even Mamata Banerjee did not expect, looking at the scale of the victory on the ground. And it was all due to the groundwork that was done for Suvendu Adhikari. First in Nandigram in 2021, when Suvendu won by 1,956 votes, that was in Nandigram. Followed by the victory in Bhabanipur. In Bhabanipur, he won by over 15,000 votes. So Suvendu goes from strength to strength, but the people behind him, his team, led by Chandranath Rath, who was killed last night, had done the work on the ground, making it happen. And that is why he was perhaps picked out, he was singled out, and he was targeted. And all the visuals that we've been getting you here on Republic TV indicate just one aspect, that he was tailed, he was targeted, he was pinned down, and he was shot dead. 10 bullets were pumped into Chandranath Rath when he was killed last night. And we are staying with these pictures. People knew him, and this is his hometown, by the way, in Chandipur. Chandipur in Purba, Medinipur is the hometown of Chandranath Rath. And that is why you're seeing people come out in large numbers. A look at the profile of this man, and it tells you how much he was respected and loved by people, his family, friends, well-wishers, political allies. He was serving in the Indian Air Force for a long time before he joined politics. And politics did not happen accidentally to him. His family was involved in politics and has been closely associated with Suvendu Adhikari. And that is why he joined politics. And he's followed Suvendu Adhikari, right from his days in the Trinamool Congress to when he joined the BJP as a minister, to when he joined the BJP and became a senior leader. Harsha's still on the phone line with us. What do we know about the investigation so far, Harsha? If you can take us through the investigation. In fact, many people, everybody who knows about the BJP's rise, anybody who knows Suvendu Adhikari knew the story of Chandranath Rath and how close he was to Suvendu and how critical he was to the entire BJP campaign. Right? Now, what do we know about his killers, about the people who targeted him?
So, Narendra, those were the unidentified assailants, and still the probe is on. Search is underway. SIT has been constituted, who's working on the investigation. There have been multiple CCTV footages which have been found from the crime spot, and also 3 people have been taken into custody, who are the local residents, and police are suspicious that they were aware of the unidentified assailant, and whether they also knew that whether they were the contract killers or they were the local TMC goons. So therefore, custody is underway, and more arrest and more detention is being done in this entire matter. For now, we know that the team of intelligence and the team of the West Bengal Police and CID have taken multiple evidences from the crime spot. They already have started the investigation. But also, one thing is for sure, that police is also suspecting that this is only up to West Bengal, or there were unidentified assailants who have come across border. So there's also one of the suspicions of the police, and therefore the help from the BSF and the CRPF is being taken by the SIT, which has been constituted. We have been told that this is a topmost priority case to nab the culprits, to nab the murderers, the assailants of Chandranath, and therefore the agencies have been working since yesterday night to till now. In fact, the entire area was cordoned off. We have been told that the multiple level of questioning was done with the 3 people who have been taken into custody. The questioning has been done by the SIT and by the CID as well, and also the phone locations of Chandranath, whether it was shared with someone or not, who all the close-knitted people of Chandranath were aware that he is leaving for his residence was known by. Those people are also being questioned. Not only this, there were several locals of Madhyamgram area who were close to Chandranath. They were also questioned today by CID. So the investigation, we can see that investigation is on the go. The police is investigating. It's a deep investigation that is taking place. But till now, none of the assailants have been caught. 2 were on the bike. One was in the car, which came from forward, which actually blocked the Scorpio from moving ahead. And then the bikers leveled up and started firing bullet shots at Chandranath and on the vehicle Scorpio as well. So these assailants are right now on the run. They have not been caught as of now, but Niranjan, the security has been leveled up across the border, at cross-border, between West Bengal and Bangladesh border areas as well, in the city, outside the city, and the police operations not only of West Bengal but the nearby states have also been alerted about that if they found any vehicle with a fake number plate, because one, they used fake number plate, that is for sure. The number plate was of Siliguri, and also in Siliguri there was one person who was taken into custody by the Madhyamgram police station, and that person is also being questioned that how is he linked and why the number plate of Siliguri was used. In fact, the car which was bought, it was a second-hand car from OLX. From exactly which person did they buy the second-hand car also, the police is investigating into that line as well. So we can clearly see that on different aspects the investigation is underway, but till now the unidentified assailants have not been caught. Back to you.
Yeah. Stay with the pictures, ladies and gentlemen. Known to be someone who was extremely soft-spoken. He was known to most BJP leaders, not just in Bengal, but across the country. Was also in touch reportedly with the central leadership while coordinating the campaign was Suvendu Adhikari. His executive assistant, Chandranath Rath, was shot dead in Madhyamgram last night. Madhyamgram, a little after 10 p.m. He was a former Indian Air Force staffer who went on to become the deputy of Suvendu Adhikari. He studied in the Ramakrishna Mission Boys High School. He then joined the Air Force. He was in the Short Service Commission, SSC. He served for 10 years in the Indian Air Force. And then he quit the Indian Air Force and started working with Suvendu Adhikari in the year 2018. When Suvendu Adhikari, Kishale is also with me. Kishale is on the phone line. Abhishek is also joining me. Abhishek, this was a pre-planned murder. He was marked out But most importantly, the story of Chandranath Rath, the more you read about him, the more you get to know how critical he was to the entire Suvendu campaign. Not just the Suvendu campaign, but his entry into the BJP, his rise in the BJP in Bengal, his victory in Nandigram, his victory in Bhabanipur. Abhishek.
बिल्कुल, सबसे पहले मैं तस्वीरें आपको दिखाना चाहूँगा। आपने बिल्कुल ठीक कहा कि जो एक कह सकते हैं कि ग्राफ देखने को मिला बढ़ता हुआ, वो ग्राफ शायद कहीं न कहीं जो है वो चुभता हुआ नजर आया। और शुवेंदु अधिकारी ने भी बोला कि मैंने ममता को हराया है, इसलिए मेरे पीए की हत्या की गई है। एक तरीके से बदला जो है वो लिया गया है। इस हत्या को लेकर शुवेंदु अधिकारी का बयान भी सामने आया। लेकिन इस बीच तस्वीरें आप देखिए, अंतिम दर्शन के लिए यहाँ पर पार्थिव शरीर को जो है रखा गया और बड़ी संख्या में यहाँ पर लोग जो हैं वो पहुंचे हुए हैं। इन तस्वीरों में आप देख सकते हैं किस तरीके से हजारों की संख्या में लोग पहुंचे हुए हैं। मैं आपको बता दूं कि जो ग्राउंड है, ग्राउंड काफी छोटा ग्राउंड है, लेकिन उसके बावजूद यहाँ पर बड़ी संख्या में लोगों की मौजूदगी है। और पीछे एक रास्ता है, वो रास्ता जो इस ग्राउंड तक आता है, वो रास्ता भी पूरी तरीके से भरा हुआ है। आप ये समझिए कि जगह है, लेकिन यहाँ पर लोग जो है लगातार उनके आने का सिलसिला जारी है। लगातार यहाँ पर अंतिम दर्शन के लिए लोग जो हैं वो पहुँच रहे हैं। और ये तस्वीरें लगातार हम आपको दिखा रहे हैं जिस तरीके से अंतिम दर्शन के लिए बड़ी संख्या में जो ग्रामीण हैं, चंडीपुर के जो लोग हैं, वो बड़ी संख्या में इस वक्त जो है यहाँ पर पहुँच रहे हैं। और दूसरी ओर लगातार इस हत्या को लेकर देखिए कई तरीके की बातें इस वक्त नजर आ रही हैं। शुवेंदु अधिकारी का बयान भी जिस तरीके से निकलकर सामने आया था, जिसमें उन्होंने कहा कि मैं टारगेट था, मुझे टारगेट किया जा रहा था और मेरे बदले जो है चंद्रनाथ जो उनके पीए हैं उनकी हत्या कर दी गई है। और सीधे तौर पर उन्होंने कहा कि बदले की राजनीति है भवानीपुर से, और इससे पहले नंदीग्राम से मैंने ममता बनर्जी को हराया था और यही जो हार थी, यही हार सबसे बड़ा कारण बनी है कि यहाँ चंद्रनाथ की हत्या कर दी गई। जी,
It's the family of Abhishek, family of Chandranath Rath there, as they pay tribute, they bid goodbye to the son of Chandipur in Purva Medinipur. Chandranath Rath was the political aide of Suvendu Adhikari, who managed all his legislative work. So Suvendu Adhikari heavily relied on him for every political coordination, whether it's liaising with the media or interviews or coordination with the central leadership. He was central, he was key to everything that Suvendu Adhikari did outside of his political work. Let's take a short break now. On the verdict, ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, getting you more on the live pictures and also the investigation into the murder, the assassination of a man called Chandranath Rath. We'll tell you why it's important. Stay tuned.
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट,
स्वाद बनाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और परेशान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
Introducing the Hitachi Sumo Heavy Duty Air Conditioner. Backed by Japanese innovation, Hitachi Sumo Heavy Duty AC is built to deliver a maximum cooling capacity of up to 7400 watts. Hitachi Sumo Heavy Duty ACs come with a long air throw of up to 24 meters. The Octa sensor technology of Hitachi ACs uses 8 intelligent sensors across indoor and outdoor units. An elegant machine that's bigger, bolder and better. Isn't just an AC. It's a powerhouse built for Indian summer.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा,
राजा आरती और मसाला, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार, विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
प्यास बुझाए, ठंडक लाए, सबको भाए जीरा से, MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से।
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
AU करंट अकाउंट के साथ मिलता है फ्री UPI QR ओवरड्राफ्ट फैसिलिटी और एक ही ऐप से बैंक के सारे काम। AU
सोच बदलो और बैंक भी।
प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरी डे।
Approximately 3:30 this afternoon, our plainclothes officers and agents that consistently patrol the outer perimeter of the White House complex identified a suspicious individual that appeared to have a firearm. They called in support from our marked uniformed Secret Service police to make contact with that individual. Upon making contact, that individual fled briefly on foot, withdrew a firearm, and fired in the direction of our agents and officers. They returned fire and engaged. That individual was hit. He's since been transported to the hospital. I have no comments on his condition. I can tell you that at least one, we believe only one bystander was hit by the suspect. That individual is a juvenile, did not sustain any life-threatening injuries, but he's also receiving treatment at the hospital. I'll point out that not long before this shooting occurred, the Vice President's motorcade did transit through this area. The investigation itself, in terms of the use of force in the shooting, will be conducted by Metropolitan Police Department.
Behind the Hantavirus outbreak on the cruise ship, we tell you about that at 6:30 p.m. Also, how Iran is looking to take a decision on United States proposal, even as Donald Trump threatens to bomb Iran again in order to build pressure. We also get you what is New Delhi's message to Terroristan on the anniversary of Operation Sindur. We get you all the stories that matter from across the globe on our Global at 6:30 p.m. with me, Rakshita Mishra.
Introducing the Hitachi Sumo Heavy Duty Air Conditioner. Backed by Japanese innovation, Hitachi Sumo Heavy Duty AC is built to deliver a maximum cooling capacity of up to 7,400 watts. Hitachi Sumo Heavy Duty ACs come with a long air throw of up to 24 meters. The Octa sensor technology of Hitachi ACs uses 8 intelligent sensors across indoor and outdoor units. An elegant machine that's bigger, bolder and better. Isn't just an AC. It's a powerhouse built for Indian summer.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट अब बताओ स्वाद आया
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
कहानी इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील टीएमटी बार एकदम सॉलिड।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा
AU सेविंग्स अकाउंट में मिलते हैं अमेजिंग बेनिफिट्स, पेपरलेस बैंकिंग एंड हायर इंटरेस्ट, वो भी हर महीने।
मनी 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 एवरी मंथ। सोच बदलो और बैंक भी।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
এই ছেলেরা রুখবে সীমান্তের হিন্দুদের বুকে আগলে রাখবো। 15 বছর কেটেছি অনেক এবার ওরা ভোটের দিনে ছাপ্পা লেকিন চলবে না তো।
Very good evening, viewers. You're watching Republic Global and I am Rakshita Mishra with you, viewers. Today on the show, we bring to you stories from beyond the pond, from what's happening in West Asia to what's happening in Argentina. Iran's much awaited response to US peace proposal, even as we see Trump threatening bombing if diplomacy fails. Israel, meanwhile, says it killed Hezbollah commander in first strike on Beirut since the ceasefire. US judge releases Jeffrey Epstein's purported suicide note allegedly obtained by his former jail cellmate. Also, Hantavirus outbreak aboard Dutch cruise ship has spread widespread concerns, worldwide concerns about a new pandemic. Could it be the new pandemic? Well, World Health Organization says that multiple countries are now involved in tracking and monitoring the rare rodent-borne disease. Viewers, let's take a look at the other top story we're tracking for you. Iran's response to US peace proposal expected today, even as Trump threatens to start bombing Iran if the diplomacy fails. Israel says it has eliminated the Hezbollah commander in the first strike on Beirut in Lebanon since the ceasefire. US judge releases Jeffrey Epstein's purported suicide note allegedly obtained by his former jail cellmate. Hantavirus outbreak aboard Dutch cruise ship spreads concerns. WHO statement coming in. So as the US pushes a fresh proposal to end the Iran war, the big question now remains, what is next for Iran? Will Tehran agree to strict nuclear conditions in exchange for the sanctions relief and an end to the conflict? Or is the region heading towards another dangerous escalation? Here's more.
After weeks of war, airstrikes and rising tensions across the Middle East, the focus has now shifted to diplomacy. The United States has put forward a new proposal aimed at ending the war with Iran, and Tehran is now reviewing the terms. According to reports, the proposed agreement centers around a 14-point memorandum designed to formally end hostilities and create a framework for long-term negotiations. Under the proposal, Iran would have to halt uranium enrichment for more than a decade and commit to not developing a nuclear weapon. In return, the United States is expected to offer sanctions relief, release billions of dollars in frozen Iranian assets, and ease economic pressure on Tehran. Another key part of the negotiations is the Strait of Hormuz, the critical global oil route that has become central to this conflict. US has now again claimed that they are having good talks with Iran.
And now we're doing well. Now we have to get what we have to get. If we don't do that, we'll have to go a big step further. But with that being said, they want to make a deal. We've had very good talks over the last 24 hours, and it's very possible that we'll make a deal.
But even as diplomatic channels remain open, distrust between Washington and Tehran continues to run deep. Iran has made it clear that it wants guarantees against future attacks, a full end to hostilities, and long-term security assurances. At the same time, the United States and Israel continue to insist on strict limits on Iran's nuclear program. President Trump has said there is a very good chance of ending the war soon, but also warned that failure of talks could lead to more devastating bombing. Inside Iran, the leadership now faces a complex choice. Accept the deal and risk domestic criticism over nuclear concessions, or reject the terms and face the possibility of fresh military escalation. Analysts believe the next few days could decide whether the region moves towards a fragile peace or back into a full-scale conflict. For now, the war may have slowed, But the future of Iran, its nuclear program, and the stability of the entire Middle East remains uncertain.
And joining us on the broadcast is Mr. David K. Johnston, investigative journalist and Trump biographer as well. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us on Republic TV. How do you see when Trump says that he's very positive, he's given a very positive outlook towards these talks, this peace proposal, as US awaits the response from Iran? If you go by the pointers of this peace proposal, so many of very important points have been left out, like the nuclear program, the missile program, which was supposedly the basis of this entire war, sir. How do you see this panning out?
Well, we're 3 steps behind where we were in 2018 when Donald Trump took the agreement with the Iranians and 5 major powers and tore it up. The Iranians had already agreed that they weren't going to develop weapons. They don't have the capacity to do so. And Trump needs to spin this as positively as he can, but as I see it, we're in a quagmire. The Iranians in late February gave Trump an offer, according to Foreign Minister Badar of Oman, that they would have given everything Trump was asking for, plus allowed American oil companies to go into Iran to both help develop their extensive oil fields and improve their technology. And instead of taking that deal and walking out in front of the White House and bragging, I got a better deal than Barack Obama, he started bombing them. The Iranians are not going to give up their sovereignty, and Trump needs to have something he can call a victory to justify to his supporters, whom he got to vote for him by saying there will be no more wars in the Middle East. In fact, he said of his opponents in all 3 presidential elections, if you vote for the other person, they're going to start a war in Iran. And he's the one who's done this. And he's also now passed the 60-day period when a president can undertake defensive actions using the military. So anything more he does going forward by law, not that Trump cares about the law, requires the explicit approval of Congress.
Right, Mr. Johnston. Right. And if you could just tell us about the broader view, the global concerns regarding the fuel supply, the oil supply. Do you see, in your understanding, hope for the full-fledged opening of the Strait of Hormuz?
This is seems to me highly unlikely. We've had in the last 2 months roughly 1.5 days of ships pass through the Strait of Hormuz. It was open before this war began, and the economic consequences are going to be absolutely awful for India and the rest of the world. Reducing the supply of oil has led to higher prices. At the moment, they've dropped a bit on the expectation by speculators that peace is at hand. In the U.S., we have drawn down our stocks of refined products, diesel, gasoline, et cetera, quite significantly. While the U.S. is producing more oil than it can use and is exporting a lot of it, some of it as refined product or liquefied natural gas, the world will have a shortfall. And the shortfalls of urea fertilizer, of helium that's needed for certain medical devices, as well as oil and refined oil products, I will be very surprised if we aren't reporting a year from now that we are in a global recession. And remember, it takes time for these things to work through. So what you're seeing in the markets today in terms of, for example, prices for jet fuel, diesel, gasoline, that doesn't reflect how bad it's probably going to be, even if there was a complete end to hostilities and a reopening of the Strait of Hormuz today.
And we also see that, we see the first time since that ceasefire was announced that Israel has also carried out a strike in Beirut. So you feel that the tensions will persist for a long time now?
Well, the Iranians have been incredibly clear that they regard the southern Lebanon attacks as contrary to their offers of a peaceful settlement. And the Israelis continue under the Netanyahu administration to pursue this policy where Netanyahu seems to think that if he can reduce the population dramatically, he will end the problem. He doesn't think about raising up new generations of people filled with rage and hate over the conduct of his administration. So this attack in Beirut and the continued oppression in Gaza with grossly disproportionate amount of violence by the Israelis compared to the atrocity, the absolutely awful atrocity of October 7th by Hamas, none of that points in the direction of peace. And also, let's not forget one important thing here. Trump keeps saying Iran is the biggest sponsor of state terror in the world. Iran sponsors two key organizations, Hezbollah and Hamas. The Saudis support several dozen such organizations around the world and put a lot more money into that than the Iranians do. Both sides, my point being, have dirty hands here. And we don't, Trump doesn't understand any of that. I mean, one of the things I've known about Donald for the 38 years I've covered him, spent hundreds of hours with him, is he doesn't pay attention to details. And when he gets an idea in his head, it's fixed there. It's almost impossible to get him to move.
So for joining us on Republic TV with your insights, Mr. Johnston.
Thank you, Rashida.
All right, we were shifting focus now to, as we were talking about the Israeli strikes conducted in southern Lebanon. They've raised several questions over the ceasefire, as we were talking with our guest as well. Israel is claiming that it, in this latest strike, has targeted Hezbollah installations, but the residents are also paying the price for it on the ground. Here's more.
Civil defense workers searched through damaged infrastructures after an Israeli airstrike hit Beirut's southern suburbs. This was the first time Israel struck the Lebanese capital since a ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah was announced. Before the strike, the fighting since the ceasefire was contained in southern Lebanon. The last strikes in the Lebanese capital took place on April 8th when a barrage of massive Israeli strikes killed more than 350 people. A statement released by Prime Minister Netanyahu's office said the strikes, which came without warning, targeted a commander in Hezbollah's Radwan force. Fighting has continued since then in southern Lebanon. The strikes raised serious questions on the ceasefire. With displaced residents coming back to their city drowning in rubble, the war between Israel and Lebanon is far from over.
Now, questions are once again being raised over the Epstein files. Now, the questions remain on his death. Now, a handwritten note, an apparent note, allegedly discovered after Epstein's first suspected suicide attempt inside the Manhattan federal jail in 2019 has been unsealed by a U.S. court. Now, this note has surfaced just years later through Epstein's former cellmate, and the release is reigniting the scrutiny over Epstein's death, the failures of the legal system, as well as the powerful figures once linked to him, including President Donald Trump. Here's more.
The mystery surrounding sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's death is back in the spotlight. A handwritten note allegedly linked to the convicted sex offender has now been made public nearly 7 years after his death. The note was unsealed by a federal judge in New York. The note was reportedly found by Epstein's former cellmate, Nicholas. In the note, Epstein allegedly says that the investigators had found nothing, before adding that it was a treat to be able to choose the time to say goodbye. The final few lines of the note reads, "No fun, not worth it." But the investigators have never confirmed about who actually wrote the note. Epstein was awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges when he allegedly committed suicide on August in 2019. However, the case has fueled years of conspiracy theories, initiated by Epstein's connections to political and royal figures as well as security lapses inside the jail. The controversy is now expanding beyond the United States. as survivors and advocates gathered in Washington demanding accountability. Britain's King Charles faced calls from lawmakers to publicly acknowledge Epstein's victims. Years after Epstein's death, survivors say that the release of the files and documents has not delivered full accountability.
There's a difficult irony in all of this. Virginia was recruited from a property owned by Donald Trump and trafficked to a member of the British royal family. Yet, today, survivors are here, sitting with members of Congress, still fighting to be heard, still pushing for real accountability, while many of the powerful figures connected to these systems remain just out of reach, unable to acknowledge survivors face to face.
With each new revelation, questions surrounding America's top controversial criminal cases refuses to disappear.
Now, a deadly Hantavirus outbreak linked to an Antarctic cruise has now triggered global concerns, with the World Health Organization stepping up the surveillance and response efforts as infections are spreading reportedly across borders. 3 passengers aboard the MV Hondi's cruise liner already died. Dozens of potentially exposed travelers have returned to different countries, and in Britain they are also self-isolating right now. And there are fears of wider transmission. Investigators now trying to trace where this deadly strain has been contracted from, even as experts warn that the changing climate patterns and growing rodent exposure might be accelerating the spread of this virus. Many are in fact now comparing it to the COVID pandemic as well. Meanwhile, the WHO today has issued a briefing. It has moved to strengthen the monitoring, lab testing and contact tracing and of course this entire response, insisting that the situation is not really comparable to the start of the COVID pandemic, even as there have been some similarities pointed out. Here's more.
A deadly Hantavirus outbreak aboard an Antarctic cruise liner has now sparked concern, with health agencies racing to track possible infections across multiple countries. 3 passengers aboard the Dutch-flagged MV Hondius have died, including a Dutch couple and a German national, after testing positive for the Ender strain of Hantavirus. The cruise had departed from Ushuaia in southern Argentina, with investigators now trying to determine where exactly the passengers contracted the virus. Argentine authorities are tracing travel histories, forest trails and contact chains as fears grow over possible human-to-human transmission in confined environments.
A partir de que una persona se contamina con el ratón, después cuando tiene su afección pulmonar puede contaminar por vía aérea a la persona que está cerca, que es lo que ha sucedido ahora en el barco, que era un lugar cerrado y personas que estaban difuminando el virus.
Argentina has reported over 100 hantavirus infections since June last year, nearly double compared to the previous period. Experts say changing weather patterns, droughts followed by heavy rainfall, and creating ideal condition for rodents carrying the virus to spread into newer regions.
Por la clínica y unos resultados de laboratorio particulares se sospechó que podía llegar a ser Hantavirus, así que ese mismo día se le realizó la PCR, obteniendo resultado positivo para Hantavirus, por lo que el paciente quedó internado desde el día domingo. Actualmente se encuentra en UCI, estable, pero bueno, estamos ahí a la expectativa de cómo sigue su evolución.
The outbreak also revived painful memories for families in Argentina, where several deaths linked to Hantavirus were reported earlier this year.
Al padre le dijeron que por ahí era un dengue, que el dengue más o menos se manifiesta así, pero el cuadro era diferente, que no sabían lo que tenía, que específicamente nunca nadie nos dio una explicación exacta de lo que tenía.
Meanwhile, the World Health Organization has acknowledged concerns around the outbreak, but says the current situation is not comparable to the early days of COVID-19 pandemic. Even so, dozens of potentially exposed passengers have already returned to different countries, prompting global monitoring efforts as investigations continue.
And today marks 1 year to Operation Sindur, India's unforgettable response to Pakistan's terrorism. And today, viewers, we present this tribute to our armed forces, and also we bring you what Lieutenant General Rajiv Ghai, the DGMO at the time of Operation Sindur, had to say about Asim Munir's promotion after Operation Sindur. Thanks for watching.
Identify, track and punish every terrorist and their backers.
टेरर और टॉक एक साथ नहीं हो सकते। टेरर और ट्रेड एक साथ नहीं चल सकते और पानी और खून भी एक साथ नहीं बह सकता।
Munir promoting himself. Well, what can I say? That is for them to answer. We looked at that process with some kind of amusement. Munir promoting himself. Well, what can I say? That is for them to answer. We looked at that process with some kind of amusement.
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
Introducing the Hitachi Sumo Heavy Duty Air Conditioner. Backed by Japanese innovation, Hitachi Sumo Heavy Duty AC is built to deliver a maximum cooling capacity of up to 7400 watts. Hitachi Sumo Heavy Duty ACs come with a long air throw of up to 24 meters. The Octa sensor technology of Hitachi ACs uses 8 intelligent sensors across indoor and outdoor units. An elegant machine that's bigger, bolder and better. Isn't just an AC. It's a powerhouse built for Indian summer.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट,
स्वाद बनाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और परेशान, अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
AU करंट अकाउंट के साथ मिलता है फ्री UPI QR ओवरड्राफ्ट फैसिलिटी और एक ही ऐप से बैंक के सारे काम। AU
सोच बदलो और बैंक भी।
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
प्यास बुझाए ठंडक लाए सबको भाई जीरा से, MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से।
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
MTH।
Approximately 3:30 this afternoon, our plainclothes officers and agents that consistently patrol the outer perimeter of the White House complex identified a suspicious individual that appeared to have a firearm. They called in support from our marked uniformed Secret Service police to make contact with that individual. Upon making contact, that individual fled.
Join International Institute of Hotel Management. Call 983-10-50,000.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद ये तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मम्मा क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा सबका राजा आरती और मसाला।
थाली का ये जश्न है, जश्न का ये जश्न है।
राष्ट्रीय इलायची जश्न का जश्न।
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
आलू चाट या फ्रूट चाट।
स्वाद बनाए चमकी चाट।
क्या बात है? स्वादिष्ट पकोड़े और परेशान। अरे चमकी चाट है इसकी जान।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
AU सेविंग्स अकाउंट में मिलते हैं अमेजिंग बेनिफिट्स, पेपरलेस बैंकिंग एंड हायर इंटरेस्ट, वो भी हर महीने।
मनी 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 एवरी मंथ। सोच बदलो और बैंक भी।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी every day.
Introducing the Hitachi Sumo Heavy Duty Air Conditioner. Backed by Japanese innovation, Hitachi Sumo Heavy Duty AC is built to deliver a maximum cooling capacity of up to 7,400 watts. Hitachi Sumo Heavy Duty ACs come with a long air throw of up to 24 meters. The Octa sensor technology of Hitachi ACs uses 8 intelligent sensors across indoor and outdoor units. An elegant machine that's bigger, bolder and better. Isn't just an AC. It's a powerhouse built for Indian summer.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े। चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चंकी चाट।
এই ছেলেরা দেখবে সীমান্তের হিন্দুদের বুকে আগলে রাখবো 15 বছর কেটেছি অনেক।
India will identify, track and punish every terrorist and their backers.
टेरर और टॉक एक साथ नहीं हो सकते। टेरर और ट्रेड एक साथ नहीं चल सकते और पानी और खून भी एक साथ नहीं बह सकता।
Hello and welcome you watching This Is Exclusive with me, Shavin Sen. Tonight on This Is Exclusive, we put the focus on 1 year on India's finest military operation, Operation Sindur. 88 hours of what we are now calling it Indian epic fury. Raining down on the Pakistanis, obliterating the jihadi factory. Tonight on This Is Exclusive, we take you through a definitive account of Operation Sindur. And not just that, the big revelation that has now been made by the Indian Navy. What was the role that the Indian Navy really played? A very special guest would be joining us in a short while from now. All this and much more in this edition of This Is Exclusive. But up first, let me take you through the headlines we are tracking at this hour. India marks 1 year of Operation Sindur. Red lines against terror remains firm. 1 year since Operation Sindur, Prime Minister Modi reiterates resolve to defeat terrorism remains steadfast. On This Is Exclusive, we bring you unseen, never before seen footage of Lashkar-e-Taiba training center in complete rubbles. Suvendu Adhikari's close aide and personal assistant shot dead at point-blank range. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now considered to be one of India's finest military operation, Operation Sindur. 88 hours of Indian fury raining down on Pakistani's jihadi terror. A year later, we finally get that biggest confirmation on Republic TV where Indian Navy's role during Operation Sindur has been revealed. For the first time, Indian Navy has now confirmed that they participated in the precision strikes targeting Pakistan. Navy Marine commandos and shore-based assets were basically used in the strikes. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take you through some of the pictures of the carrier battle group formation that had taken place. What really happened between 6th and 7th of intervening night, and 3 to 4 days of what we were given to understand how they were basically bottled up. Pakistani assets that were bottled up in the coastal areas. On your screens right now, in a short while from now, we're going to put out the Indian Navy video of how it all started immediately after the Pahalgam attack and what was the kind of formation that had taken place and the role that Indian Navy was playing in the high seas. Very little information has really come out since Operation Sindur actually began. Not much has been spoken about the Indian Navy's role and the deterrent role that Indian Navy actually played, ensuring that not a single naval asset of the Pakistanis were able to come out of the coastal areas. So much so, we're given to understand that even merchant ships were hugging along the coastal line. Let's first take a look at this video that has been accessed by Republic TV that will give you a glimpse into what was the role that Indian Navy played. Well, in fact, Vice Admiral A.N. Pramod made the confirmation that on the intervening night of 6th and 7th of May, In fact, it turns out, and over the next few days, Navy personnel also participated in the precision strikes against Pakistan. They're quite tight-lipped about the nature of the operation in which the Indian Navy had engaged. That is still not known, but we do know that Marine commandos as well as certain shore-based assets were essentially used. This is what Vice Admiral Ian Pramod had to say in the annual press conference that took place earlier today.
The Indian Navy transitioned rapidly to combat readiness, deploying the carrier battle group, surface action groups, led by potent indigenous frontline warships, submarine, aircraft, and special forces in an offensive posture in the northern Arabian Sea. On the night of 6-7th May, the naval personnel also participated in the precision strikes on terror infrastructure alongside the Indian Army and Indian Air Force, underscoring jointness. The Indian Navy transitioned rapidly to combat readiness, deploying the carrier battle group, surface action groups, led by potent indigenous frontline warships, submarine, aircraft, and special forces in an offensive posture in the northern Arabian Sea. On the night of 6-7th May, the naval personnel also participated in the precision strikes on terror infrastructure alongside the Indian Army and Indian Air Force, underscoring jointness.
Well, in fact, for the first time on Indian television, we have a very, very special guest joining us. Vice Admiral S.J. Singh. He is the former CNC of the Western Naval Command, someone who led the Indian Navy during the Operation Sindur and has played a pivotal role. In fact, perhaps we cannot further divulge the role that he has actually played, some say, along the maritime border. Admiral Jasjit Singh is joining us on this broadcast. Sir, thank you very much. In fact, you're making your debut here on Republic TV. It's a privilege to have you here. I want to begin by asking you, for the last 1 year, all of us who have been covering defense have been asking this question to several Navy personnel as to what was the role that Indian Navy was playing. In fact, you've had the Chief of Naval Staff telling us that there was a pivotal role that Indian Navy played. For the first time, Vice Admiral Ian Pramod did indicate that yes, Indian Navy participated in the precision strike. Who better than you, Vice Admiral Singh, to tell us what really happened during the intervening night when we saw those carrier battle group formation, pictures of those which have now finally been released?
Thank you, Shravan, for inviting me. And there's a good reason why the Navy is called the silent service. And you're asking me to speak out on the anniversary on exactly that. I think the DG Naval Operations has spelled it out very clearly. But to add on to that, the immediate swift readiness is what the Indian Navy adopted to maintain a strong deterrent posture, deploy in strength, cater for the entire range of contingencies that the enemy may try and bring to bear, and be prepared to counter them with complete escalation control.
Vice Admiral, just give us a sense that how did the Pakistanis really respond? Because a lot has been spoken about it. In fact, there were a lot of propaganda videos that were circulated by the Pakistanis, and they said that they were all very well prepared. When I saw some of those pictures, some of it that I'm unable to even put out on our television screens right now, why don't you tell the entire nation who would be watching you tonight, how did the Pakistanis really respond immediately after the precision strikes were carried out when the Indian Navy was all set?
They cleared the scene of action and ran back into their holes. They were nowhere near outside. Even at the initial stage, they were not operating more than 100 to 150 nautical miles from the coast, including aircraft which were coming occasionally. The minute the strikes took place, they ran back within 25 miles of the coast, stayed tucked inside. No aircraft flew out for the next 96 hours. Had they tried to come out anywhere and tried to take any kind of a misstep, we are fully prepared to counter it at every level.
Admiral Singh, just in terms of what we saw over the next few days, because what really happened after Pahalgam attack and the kind of response that we saw, the deployment that has had taken place. In fact, we have just put out a video of the day when the deployment was essentially made in the high seas. What was the immediate response post-Pahalgam? Did you all expect that the government would actually make an announcement that something was really coming up?
Well, there's absolutely no doubt. The minute the terrorists carried out their perfidious strike, it was very clear this was with Pakistani support. And given the trend of activities, there was absolutely no doubt in my mind or any commander's mind that there was going to be a robust action and a robust riposte. So immediately we went up straight away to the highest top red alert level. We prepared for full spectrum operations, deployed in strength. In any case, we were ready in force and the fleet was out. We completed the exercise and redeployed in record time and were prepared, as I said, for all contingencies that the enemy could have done and deployed in a manner that we were able to retain escalation control at every stage.
Vice Admiral Sanjay Singh, how do you really look at the assets that were essentially deployed by the Pakistanis, particularly the Pakistani Navy and Pakistani Air Force? Because it seems from several research papers that have come up post-Operation Sindur, there is an indication that the entire focus perhaps of the Pakistanis were their own army. Very little was actually used by the Navy as well as the Air Force. What's the assessment that you made as someone who was heading a naval command?
Well, in the initial stage, after the operation was launched from our side, remember, as far as we are concerned, the minute the terrorists carried out a strike, our operation and our deployment commenced. We are watching and building up a maritime domain awareness on the Pakistani forces. They were primarily relying on pushing what you call dummy navigation area warnings all across the exclusive economic zone to try and play psychological warfare that Indian naval vessels, especially submarines, don't deploy in those regions. We monitored that, we deployed appropriately, built up our readiness levels, and the instant the strikes were carried out, the Pakistani forces fled from the scene, pulled back tight inside. Some of the submarines were out, which we are monitoring, and the surface forces, all of which we are monitoring, were right next to the coast. We were stood to and waiting for the next level of escalation control and any steps that were required to decimate the forces in front of us.
One final question, Vice Admiral Singh, before I let you go. The change in doctrine, which has now been adopted, which seems we are far more preemptive in nature. What do you really make of it in terms of the changes that have taken place post-Operation Sindur?
Firstly, Shawan, I will not call it preemptive. There's nothing preemptive in this. What we did was a clear retaliation to a perfidious strike supported by military forces from the other side. There's nothing preemptive in this. What we are doing was deterrent and trying to send a signal across that you cannot operate with impunity in this manner any longer. Doctrinal changes were as part of evolution. Remember, this is not the first time. This is the third major operation as a counter-terrorism operation that was carried out. Each one slightly stronger, slightly harder, slightly further, and across a wider area than the previous one. In each of those cases, the level of readiness and the level to reach out and strike has increased. And I think the best way of capturing or describing this change has been done by the then Army Southern Commander and the current Vice Chief of Army Staff when he called it that we moved from cold start to cold strike. And that's what all three forces are ready for today. We are ready for cold strike. Hopefully, the enemy has learned their lessons after 1 year. If they haven't, we are prepared, we are ready. And I have no doubt that the Indian Armed Forces will carry out the next level of action that is required to send the correct message to the enemy.
Well, it was always a pleasure to have you on Republic TV, Vice Admiral Singh, for sharing your thoughts and also revealing a little bit about the role of Indian Navy. I think so a lot of us would rarely know what really transpired, but thank you very much for at least giving us a glimpse of what was seen as the biggest deterrent power that India used. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, in the darkest hours of the night, India struck back with precision, power, and unyielding resolve. At 1 o'clock in the morning, the Indian Air Force unleashed a devastating wave of high-precision strikes from within Indian airspace. The roar of a Sukhoi 30 MKIs pierced the silence as the first BrahMos missile screamed towards terrorist hideouts, marking the beginning of one of the most decisive military operations in recent history. Now, this was not just an ordinary warning. This was retribution. In a lightning-fast 23-minute primary strike window, the Indian Air Force surgically dismantled terror infrastructure across the border. 9 camps were hit with clinical accuracy, 5 in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and 4 deep inside mainland Pakistan. From Jaish-e-Mohammed's headquarters in Bahawalpur to Lashkar-e-Toiba's training camp in Muridke, from infiltration launch pads in Kotli and Gulpur to weapons storage sites in Sarjal. India's message was loud and clear. Terror will no longer enjoy safe havens. While Sukhoi 30 MKIs delivered BrahMos and Crystal Maze missiles, Rafales struck with Scalp cruise missiles, and Mirage 2000s basically jammed Pakistani radars, providing lethal electronic warfare cover. What followed was immediate. Pakistani aircraft scrambled into the sky. A massive aerial confrontation erupted. 72 Indian fighters versus 42 Pakistani aircraft, leading what was seen as a fierce beyond the visual range combat that lasted nearly an hour. As Pakistan convened an emergency National Security Council meeting in panic, India stood firm. By morning, Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri had already addressed the nation. By evening, Pakistani signaled corresponding action, resulting in heavy artillery and mortar shelling along the line of control in Poonch, Rajouri and Kupwara. Now, this was just the beginning. The first light of 88 hours of Indian fury had begun. In fact, we're getting at some breaking news right now. We've just got in a breaking news right now. West Bengal's governor has dismissed the cabinet by Mamata Banerjee. This comes after Mamata Banerjee had refused to step down. Bengal governor dismisses on the day when the dissolution of the assembly had already taken place. And now Bengal governor has dismissed the cabinet by Mamata Banerjee. In fact, the oath-taking ceremony is going to take place on the 9th. A big decision now being taken at a time when there was what we were given to understand an adamant Mamata Banerjee, who's lost the elections, has now finally been asked to step down. Mamata's cabinet has now been dismissed. Joining us on this broadcast is my colleague Harsha. Harsha, quickly take us through the details that you're picking up right now. Bengal governor has dismissed Mamata's cabinet.
Yes, Shravan, and tomorrow on the 8th of May already was the last day of the dissolving of the assembly of the West Bengal. It was the last day, and today, before tomorrow, today governor has already dismissed the cabinet. That clearly indicates that the entire cabinet has now been dissolved. The new government, the MLAs and the government formation can take place on 9th of May. As it has been conveyed also that there's an oath ceremony, and also BJP leaders will be meeting governor tomorrow for putting forth the number of the MLAs and for the formation of the government, and they will be invited by government as well, as they have the mandate now. So we can clearly say that Mamata resigns or not resign, but the cabinet has been dismissed, assembly has been dissolved. That clearly indicates that the new government can easily be formed with or without Mamata not resigning. Back to you.
Let me also just quickly take you through the order that has now been passed by the Bengal governor. In fact, on your screens right now, we're going to put out the details of the order that has been passed. Harsha, in terms of, there was very limited options that were available before the former Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee, but despite that, she has been extremely defiant. In fact, there are indications now coming in from the Trinamool Congress that they're going to move the Supreme Court.
उन्होंने आपके कॉल को
Well, in fact, that's the latest now coming in. Mamata Banerjee has been dismissed by West Bengal Governor R.N. Ravi. On your screens right now, this is the order that has been passed by the Gazette notification that has been issued by the Lok Bhavan in West Bengal. That's the latest now coming in with regards to the situation in West Bengal. This comes days after Mamata Banerjee, who had done a press conference stating that she hasn't lost the elections. It is a mandate that was stolen, and she said that she's not going to resign. In fact, even till date, Mamata Banerjee hasn't gone to Lok Bhavan tendering her resignation. This was at a time when she, along with her nephew Abhishek Banerjee, had continued to be defiant on this entire issue, stating that she is unwilling, she's not going to step down. That was the position that was essentially taken by Mamata Banerjee. Well, in fact, joining me on this broadcast is my colleague and our Deputy Executive Editor, Moyuk. Moyuk, a big decision, but on the expected lines. In terms of constitutional validity, there was very little options that Mamata Banerjee had.
Well, Shravan, today was the last day of the 17th Assembly in West Bengal. So after 7th, it was going to be a dissolved assembly. That's the routine procedure. And R.N. Ravi, the governor, has categorically mentioned that under the clause 2 of the Article 174 of the Indian Constitution, there is a power which allows the president to dissolve the entire assembly, because the present incumbent chief minister has not been able to prove her mandate, her majority, and the new party, that's BJP, led by their 207 MLAs, will be submitting their letter to the governor soon, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow, while they are going to take the oath. So basically, Mamata Banerjee, it's really a unique situation right now. Mamata Banerjee said that she is not going to resign. She's not going to resign because of the fact that apparently she has not been defeated. She is still the chief minister, is what Mamata Banerjee was thinking in a separate multiverse maybe. But the fact remains that Mamata Banerjee is no more the Chief Minister of West Bengal. She cannot remain the Chief Minister of West Bengal because of the fact that she doesn't have the number. There is no constitutional validity. And now, in government stamped paper, the government of West Bengal, that is being led by the Chief Secretary right now and signed by the Governor of West Bengal, has mentioned clearly that the present assembly is dissolved. The new assembly will be formed very soon after the new party submits the majority mark letter. And
just bringing in our colleague Niranjan, who's with us from the newsroom. Niranjan, the Gazette notification has already been issued. No options available before Mamata Banerjee.
Well, Abhishek, Shravan, this was the last date when she could sort of stick it out, and she can't do that any longer because the term ends officially today. Tomorrow is when the new term is set to begin, and tomorrow is when the BJP is also meeting. The BJP parliamentary party in Bengal, the legislative party in Bengal will meet, and they will be appointing a new leader. And in all likelihood, that new leader is going to be Suvendu Adhikari. Now, that is what we are hearing. But I have the official copy. In fact, in the last 2 days, we've been looking at this constitutional crisis. And when a leader, a chief minister, refuses to resign, there are only 2 or 3 options. Option 1 is the governor dismissing the cabinet. Option 2, President's rule to try to buy time, basically to ensure a smooth, handover to a next government. And option 3, of course, there is a legal option that then kicks in. But I think without much ado, the governor has stepped in. Many legal experts were asking why the governor has not stepped in yet and dismissed the government of Mamata Banerjee, given the resounding mandate that you've had in Bengal with over 200 seats going to the BJP. It's it's more than a 2/3 majority for the BJP in Bengal, and that is why this is such a mandate. Mamata does not deserve to be the chief minister. She cannot then say, I will not resign as the chief minister. So in that case, R.N. Ravi, who was the former governor of Tamil Nadu, now the governor of West Bengal, has just simply stepped in. One of the options yesterday we were saying is ignore Mamata. First day we said sack Mamata and then ignore Mamata. Instead, the governor has just stepped in and has dissolved the Legislative Assembly of West Bengal with effect from 7th of May 2026. So 7th of May, that's tomorrow, the old Legislative Assembly of Bengal under Mamata Banerjee will be dissolved completely. She has in effect been dismissed completely. Her cabinet has been dismissed, and tomorrow will be the first day when the steps will be taken to bring in a new government of the BJP in Bengal. Back to you for now.
Well, thank you very much, Niranjan. political posturing of Mamata Banerjee, where she had refused to resign. Now, the constitutional step has been taken up by the governor. Well, shifting back to the special story that we are getting to you tonight on This Is Exclusive with regards to what really happened the intervening night of 6th and 7th. This perhaps is the most definitive account of how it started and how it all ended. The first strike was around 1 o'clock in the morning, when the Indian Air Force had unleashed a devastating wave. Let me just quickly take you through what really has happened here. In fact, on your screens right now, this is exactly how it all started. It was around 1 o'clock in the morning when the Indian Air Force had launched the high precision strikes from within the Indian airspace. Let's move on. The next detail that we've picked up, the first missile that was fired into the terrorist hideout was actually from a Sukhoi 30 MKI. In fact, if you see the details of the aircrafts that were used, first, the Sukhoi 30 MKI used BrahMos and Crystal-based missiles to take out Pakistani command and control centers. That was the Sukhoi 30 MKI. We're not revealing the details of the unit here. Rafale was the other one. Here on your screens, Rafale was basically armed with the Scalp cruise missiles, which targeted concrete bunkers in Muridke. So those concrete bunkers that you're looking at, they were basically struck by the Rafale. The next one is the Mirage 2000s, which were used. They provided electronic warfare support, jamming Pakistani radars. So that particular time that was essentially used to target several of these hideouts were essentially being done with the help of the Mirage. Now, this is exactly the time, 1:05 to about 1:28, 9 camps that were basically hit right now. If you look at it, some of it which happens to be inside Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. In fact, Sarjal, which is the weapon storage site, Gulpur, which is the launch pad, Muzaffarabad, the recruitment camp, Lashkar-e-Toiba's camp in Sawai, the launch pad for infiltration, Kotli, terrorist training camp in Sialkot, the Lashkar-e-Toiba training camp in Muridke. In fact, in a short while from now, I'm going to show you for the first time. In fact, this was a video that we have accessed, and this video was shot just about a few weeks ago. The condition of Lashkar-e-Toiba's Markaz Taiba in Muridke, the condition still remains the same. It shows the way the targets were carried out. In Lahore, just a little ahead of it, where the terror hump was targeted, and Bahawalpur also. General Dhillon is going to join us on this broadcast. General Dhillon, I'm extremely sorry we're coming to you a little late, but tonight on This Is Exclusive, the endeavor that we have made is to tell the entire nation the 88 hours of Indian fury. And I'm aware of the fact that you spent a considerable time along with the other commanders, with the Prime Minister. Give us a sense of what really happened post 6th and 7th. We've put out some details, and I'm also going to show our viewers the destruction that has taken place. And I'm told that in Muridke, till date, no reconstruction has taken place. It's the same. I'm going to play out that video in a short while from now. But General Dhillon, over to you. Take us through what really happened when you met the Prime Minister.
Good evening, Shawan, and good evening to all your viewers. And before I answer a question, I would like to pay my respects to the victims of Pahalgam attack, condolences to their families, and also congratulate all 3 services, officers, JCOs and Jawans, for carrying out Operation Sindur in a spectacular manner and bringing victory to India. Having said that, we just heard Vice Admiral S.J. Singh, the finest of the voices on maritime operations. And he's a man of very few words, a good friend. And whatever he has said, I would just request your viewers to hear him all over and over again. Probably you will come to know much more than what you heard for the first time or in the first instance. Having said that, those 88 hours, starting at 1:05 in the night or 1:05 a.m. on the 7th May 2025 morning, 9 terror targets were hit as a retaliation to Pahalgam attack. Given details, what you are giving out in the preamble in my book on Operation Sindur, out of 9, 2 terror targets were taken out by the Indian Air Force, 7 were taken out by the Indian Army in a very well synergized, coordinated joint operation, and Navy, as Vice Admiral Ajay said, did contribute immensely to the overall joint effort. Now, these 9 targets, when they were hit on the night of 6th-7th May 2025, our political aim, our military aim, and our end state, which we desired, was absolutely clear. Unlike what's going on in Russia, Ukraine, what's going on in Iran, no one knows how to end the war. No one knows what will constitute victory. Nobody is clear of political aim, military aim, or the end state. In our case, that 88 hours war was very clearly, the political aim was clearly given out on the night of 6th-7th May when we hit the terror targets. It said, Operation Sindur, justice is served. Second point was, we have hit 9 terror targets as a retaliation of Pahalgam terror attack. Third point was, we have not hit any civilian area or no collateral damage to any civilian population. Fourth point was, we have not hit any military installation. And last one was, we do not want escalation. Now look at the clarity in this whole thing, that we are hitting only the terror targets as a retaliation to terror attack. And we do not want escalation, we do not want unnecessary continuation of this war. And if we can compare Operation Sindur with other terror, attack on terror, or war on terror aspects, when Americans landed in Abbottabad and eliminated Osama bin Laden, they had cleared the IB international boundary, they had overflown the Pakistani airspace, they landed in Abbottabad and avenged 9/11 terror attack. That was not an act of war. That was retaliation to terror attack on the homeland on 9th of 11.
Right.
Similarly, when we hit the 9 terror targets, it was not an act of war. It was a retaliation to Pahalgam terror attack on Indian homeland. But when Pakistan retaliated, killing our civilians in Jammu, Rajouri, Poonch, that is an act of war. When Pakistan attempted to hit our military installation, although they did not succeed, all their missiles and drones were intercepted successfully, that was an act of war. Now, as a retaliation to that, when on 10th of May, we hit 11 air bases and we destroyed their infrastructure, on-ground aircrafts inside the Pakistani airspace as deep as more than 300 kilometers from international boundary. The flying aircrafts were destroyed by Indian forces. Now that is what defines victory. And once we retaliated on 10th of May, that was a war closing act. That means we did not want escalation. We were in control of the escalation ladder from point 1 till 10th of May morning. And that is when at 3:35 p.m. on 10th May, Pakistani Director General Military Operation called up Indian Director General Military Operation and begged for a ceasefire. Now that is how the nations go to war, with a political aim very clear, end state very clear. And when the adversary begs for a ceasefire with a white flag, that is where we ended the war on our terms, having hit them as a war closing option in the 11 air bases. And that is how the responsible governments, the responsible militaries conduct the war, finish the war, achieve their aims, and achieve the end state with not an unnecessary extension of war beyond anyone's control or anyone's imagination.
General Dhillon, I'm going to play out a video which will actually show the impact of Operation Sindur. And never before has this video been played out. In fact, I was given to understand this was taken just about a few weeks ago in Muridke, which shows the kind of destruction that has taken place. I'll request you to stay on with us. First, I'm going to just quickly take our viewers through the last few details that we have picked up in terms of what really happened on the intervening night of 6th and 7th. We've crossed to about 1:30 in the morning. Now, let me quickly take you through what really happened. Now, it was around 1:30 in the morning when finally, 1:28 is when our operation basically ended. 1:30 in the morning is when finally the Pakistanis woke up. Pakistani aircraft was airborne. Let's quickly move on, because that's the most interesting and the juicy part of this entire operation. Massive aerial battle thereafter begins. In air right now, 72 Indian Air Force aircraft and about 42 Pakistani aircraft were already airborne. And in fact, it turns out that beyond visual range engagement lasted for almost 59 minutes. Now, that was a little after 1:30 in the morning when this was actually happening. 2 o'clock in the morning is when Pakistanis had convened an emergency National Security Council meeting. And a little later, by that time, we had almost completed our first day operation. 5:47 in the morning is when the Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri had briefed the media, declaring it before the world that India has carried out Operation Sindur. Now, in fact, Pakistanis gave a green signal to the corresponding action. This was on 7th of May. In the evening, when there was a corresponding action, they said heavy shelling thereafter was reported in Poonch, Rajouri, Kupwara. And what did the Pakistanis really do? Pakistanis had started targeting the civilian infrastructure. In fact, they launched heavy artillery and mortar shelling that was across LAT. Across the LOC. Now, let me just quickly take you. What did we really achieve in Operation Sindur? We managed to eliminate, take a look at this, Mohammad Yusuf Azhar. He's the brother-in-law of Masood Azhar, eliminated. Second, Hafiz Muhammad Jamil, in charge of Jaish's Markaz Subhanallah in Bahawalpur. He was finished. Mudassir Qadia Khas is the LET commander and in charge of the Markaz Taiba in Muridke. He was eliminated. Neutralized. Khalid Lashkar-e-Toiba operative, he was involved in weapon smuggling. Mohammad Hassan Khan, Jaish operational commander, and Mudassir Ahmad, Pulwama attack conspirator. All of them eliminated on the first day when the precision strikes were carried out. Now, one interesting aspect, and let's now quickly take our viewers through that breaking news, in fact, unseen footage of the Markaz, the Lashkar-e-Toiba's Markaz in Muridke. This is the footage for the first time since the strikes. Exclusive and unseen footage has emerged. This 51-second video captures the precise moment of the destruction at Markaz Taiba, the notorious Lashkar-e-Toiba's headquarters in Muridke. The once sprawling terror training center now lies in complete rubble, reduced to dust and debris by the Indian Air Force's devastating strike. Now, this is the latest, never before seen footage of Markaz Taiba after the attack. The visuals confirm the total annihilation of the facility. Confirmed, no new construction has actually taken place at the targeted Markaz. The Lashkar-e-Toiba's crown jewel remains completely destroyed. And this is the raw evidence of the precision and the impact of India's Operation Sindur. I'll also bring in Gursibran, my colleague, who's been tracking this very closely, along with General Dhillon. General Dhillon, first a quick comment with you. I'll stay full frame with these visuals right now. General Dhillon, I'm not revealing the source from where it has come, but this is not a visual that was taken last year. This is a visual that has come in just about a few weeks ago, which shows that even till date, Lashkar-e-Toiba has not carried out any reconstruction. And there are clear visible signs of the attack, of the precision strikes. In fact, the scalp missiles that were basically used to target the base of Lashkar-e-Toiba's training facility. Osama bin Laden had given the money also, I'm told. General Dhillon, your response on this?
Shawan, the videos show two things. One is the precision with which we hit the terror targets. For the benefit of our viewers, once we decide on the terror targets, that 9 of them, we may have 100 or 700 or 800 options. Once the Indian government and Indian military narrowed down to 9 of them, then what happens is every target has a dossier. We always maintain a dossier which is regularly updated. But once the terror targets were finalized, we had to update the latest intelligence also. That is the profile of the target, whether it's a brick, RCC, double story, single story, and the lat long and exact location, and what is the most suitable time so that the target gets the maximum punishment in terms of destruction or killing of those terrorists. And the type of holes, the neat holes which are made in the roof, not only here, even in Bahawalpur Masjid Subhanallah. That shows that our information or intelligence about the target was so accurate. And thereafter, there's something called target weapon matching. We match the weapon system which is most suitable to destroy this target. If you see, the target has been breached, very clean hole has been made in the roof because we did not want our weapon system to explode by impact on the roof. We wanted the weapon system to breach the roof, breach the floor, and go into the basement, as happened in Bahawalpur, or in the main hall, and then explode. Now, that is the type of intelligence which was available. That is the type of weapon systems we used for the full impact. So that I thought I would clarify for the benefit of the viewers that war fighting is a very, very precise thing these days. Otherwise, a target of this nature, if we're just firing ammunition, would have taken 100 missiles or 100 rounds if we were not accurate and precise, and our intelligence was not accurate and precise. Now coming to the second point, why this masjid or this thing is still not repaired. Enemy is very clear, and enemy knows that we know the intricate details of this target. In case they try and rebuild the same place, or with some sort of renovation to the same place, they still remain vulnerable to our targeting. In case they try something again, something like Pulwama or Pahalgam. That's why now they have started going deep inside Pakistani territory, right into Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and all, and started making their markazes and their terror camps there. This will only remain probably the chanda collecting place, but they have shifted deep inside Pakistani terrorist territory. But as our chief of our DG Defense, Air Defense said, you can get into any rat hole, we will get you out. So there is no worry on that aspect. And this is the only small little video which you have shown is a clear indication of precise intelligence we had and precise targeting we carried out. With a minimum of weapons used and the maximum impact, the 23 minutes, 105 to 128 on 7th of May early morning, was a classic example of synergized military operations by three sources in a very well coordinated manner across the full spectrum of warfare.
General Dhillon, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast and helping us put this into perspective. I want to just quickly take my colleague Gursubran, who's also been tracking this case. Gursubran, Operation Sindur, a successful military operation, but the impact of it is still being felt by the Pakistanis. In fact, we're being told that Lashkar-e-Toiba has moved their camps away from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Some have actually gone as far as Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. That's the impact that Operation Sindur has actually had.
Yes, Shravan, you have rightly mentioned that the impact of the Operation Sindur is still there, and that is clearly visible from the video that have also been accessed by Republic Media Network. That year after this attack, also this Markaz-e-Toiba in Muridke is still abandoned by the Lashkar leadership. The impact of the India's precision strikes that have taken place on the midnight of 6th and 7th of May that are clearly there, and it also shows that it was a precision strike targeting only the terror commander with no collateral damage, and also to ensure that there is no escalation. Now coming to the Pakistani terror commanders and the terror launch pads, they have already been moved from the Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir and the main Pakistan areas that have already been identified and have been named in the several press conferences by the Indian Armed Forces. So Pakistan now knows that India knows their location, and that's why they have been moved to the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and the different places. But one thing is very clear, that India knows how to strike and when to strike, and that is very clear from the video, this drone footage that has been accessed by Republic, which clearly shows that the extent of the damage, that it was a precision strike to ensure that only terror targets are hit and there are no collateral damage with regards to the civilians that live in the nearby area. India has rather chosen the precision strikes rather than going for the carpet bombing of this entire area. So this shows the accuracy and the level of information that the Indian Armed Forces had with regards to the movement of terrorists and their locations inside the Pakistan, especially with regards to Lashkar-e-Toiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed top cadres.
Thank you very much, Gursubran, for getting us the latest details. In fact, for the first time, a minute-to-minute details of Operation Sindur has finally been revealed. One of India's finest military operation, completely decoded here on Republic TV. That's all that we could pack in this edition of This Is Exclusive.
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा प्योर मसाला.
Introducing the Hitachi Sumo Heavy Duty Air Conditioner. Backed by Japanese innovation, Hitachi Sumo Heavy Duty AC is built to deliver a maximum cooling capacity of up to 7400 watts. Hitachi Sumo Heavy Duty ACs come with a long air throw of up to 24 meters. The Octa sensor technology of Hitachi ACs uses 8 intelligent sensors across indoor and outdoor units. An elegant machine that's bigger, bolder and better isn't just an AC. It's a powerhouse built for Indian summer.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। अब बताओ स्वाद आया?
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा,
रानी, इस घर में कुछ है जो टूटता नहीं।
ये पिलर कभी नहीं टूटेगा। रुंगटा स्टील TMT से बना।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
प्यास बुझाए, ठंडक लाए, सबको भाए जीरा से। MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से।
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
MTH।
Character, the taste of success.
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरी डे।
Approximately 3:30 this afternoon, our plainclothes officers and agents that consistently patrol the outer perimeter of the White House complex identified a suspicious individual that appeared to have a firearm. They called in support from our marked uniformed Secret Service police to make contact with that individual. Upon making contact, that individual fled briefly on foot, withdrew a firearm, and fired in the direction of our agents and officers. They returned fire and engaged. That individual was hit. He's since been transported to the hospital. I have no.
Join International Institute of Hotel Management. Call 983-10-50,000.
आर प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा आर प्योर मसाला।
Introducing the Hitachi Sumo Heavy Duty Air Conditioner. Backed by Japanese innovation, Hitachi Sumo Heavy Duty AC is built to deliver a maximum cooling capacity of up to 7400 watts. Hitachi Sumo Heavy Duty ACs come with a long air throw of up to 24 meters. The Octa sensor technology of Hitachi ACs uses 8 intelligent sensors across indoor and outdoor units. An elegant machine that's bigger, bolder and better isn't just an AC. It's a powerhouse built for Indian summer.
चमकी चाट से क्या बना है?
सैंडविच लस्सी और छाछ
हर घूंट में चमकी चाट। ड्राई फ्रूट और दही बड़े, चमकी चाट से स्वाद बढ़े।
असली स्वाद सिर्फ चमकी चाट।
Character, the taste of success.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा,
AU सेविंग्स अकाउंट में मिलते हैं अमेजिंग बेनिफिट्स, पेपरलेस बैंकिंग एंड हायर इंटरेस्ट, वो भी हर महीने।
मनी 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 एवरी मंथ। सोच बदलो और बैंक भी।
प्यास बुझाए, ठंडक लाए, सबको भाए जीरा से। MTH का जलजीरा जीरा से।
जीरा से असली रिफ्रेशिंग, असली स्वाद, असली मजा।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरी डे।
এই ছেলেরা রুখবে সীমান্ত